Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, Texas, as the Silver Springs Wildcats take on the Frisco High School Raccoons in by district. Frisco finishing second in the district, serving as the home team tonight. They were in District 7, Wildcats in District 8, Division 2 5A. They finished third, and so we are here tonight as the Wildcats are in their helmet, getting ready to come onto the field, wearing white uniforms, blue helmets tonight. Frisco's colors exactly like the Cats. They'll be wearing the blue uniform, solid blue uniform, with white numbers and blue helmet. Don Julian will be doing your play-by-play this evening. Doug Haston videoing this game for replay on Channel 18. Butch Burney is with us this evening to do our statistics and to write our story for KSSTradio.com, and we're delighted that he is with us as well. We're not going to have a lot of crowd noise this evening. They do not have access to that for the broadcast booth. We will be somewhat secluded from sound, but we will certainly try to give you as much of the activity on the field as we can bring to you. Don, you have starting lineups. Let's take a look at those.
All right, we'll start with the Frisco offense, their wing T, such that it is. Quarterback is Carter Yates. Running backs, Nick Stanton, 1,000-yard gainer this year. And if they use a second running back, that is Dante Reese. Their wing back, again in this wing T, is Blake May, about an 800-yard season for him. Wide receivers, Bryson Clemens and also Brandon Torres. Their tight end is A.J. Denota, and their strong tackle is Hunter Frisch. Strong guard is Jacob Thompson. Center is Malcolm Sims. The quick guard is Cody Selby, and the quick tackle is Alan Cortez. Those are the Raccoons of Frisco with their offense. Now we'll look at the Wildcats defense that will be facing those guys this evening. On the nose is Ignacio Nacho Guerrero for the Wildcats. Defensive tackles, Jose Rodriguez and Evan Rushing. The inside linebackers, Bryce McQueen, Daniel Marino, and outside linebackers, D.Q. Pitts and also Kylan Wade. On the corners, Damian Dugan and Andy Edens, and the safeties are Landry Tyson and Austin Dodd. So now let's go to Jimmy now.
And we have a coin toss going on in the center of the field. Captains for the Wildcats tonight, number 16, Landon Tyson, number 50 for the Wildcats. That is Ignacio Guerrero. Number 75 for the Cats is Charlie Maddox. And it looks like Frisco has won the toss, will receive. Wildcats defending the north goal, Frisco defending the south goal. And the other captain for the Wildcats this evening, I believe, is number 8, Decorian Young. Go ahead.
All right, let's check out the defense now for Frisco. They base out of a 4-3. Their defensive ends are Cody Selby and Kamari Wilkerson. Defensive tackles, Draylon Washington and Jaron Vernon. Middle linebacker, Aaron Taylor. Outside linebackers, Dante Reese and Corbin Lawrence. Cornerbacks, Brandon Torres and Bryson Clemens. And their safeties are Max Sauerwein and Nick Bonilla. So that's the Frisco defense. Wildcats on offense, their left tackle is Philip Rader, the left guard Hayden Daniel, the center Ethan Rogers, and I certainly hope he can play tonight. He's was supposed to be a game-time decision, I believe, for him. Right guard is Jacob Janitis, and shout out to him. Happy birthday, Jacob. He is 18 today. And so glad to wish him a happy birthday for the big fella. And right tackle is Charlie Maddox. Cornerback is Decorian Young. Running back Caden Davis. In the slots, slot receivers Austin Dodd and Chase Haney. And the wide receivers Landry Tyson and Connor Bergen, as here come the Raccoons. And the Wildcats have already made their appearance on the field, so we're getting ready for this one. How unusual, Jimmy, that we have a flip without a deferral, as Frisco says, yeah, give us that ball.
Yeah, they're very, very quick to get started here this evening. Very anxious to get their hands on this ball, especially against this Wildcat offense, wanting to see what they can do with their unique offensive alignment.
Yeah, running that wing T, and I can understand that. They really hung their hat on that wing tee, and they run the heck out of it. They're almost probably a 90% run team, I would think. But boy, that 10% when they pass can be moments of terror, because it's always after play action, and that's when they try to fool you. And most of their passes go for a lot of yards, according to their head coach.
And they're getting ready for the national anthem here. We'll not be able to hear the sound of the national anthem with the flag on the south side of the field or the enclosed field that we play at here tonight. It's a very beautiful stadium. Opportunity for high school kids to play indoors in a very good setting here at the Ford Center.
Something they'll always remember, being in the Star over here in Frisco.
That is true. And so in respect to the national anthem, and since we will not be able to pick it up, we're going to take a break for some commercials. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Ford Center here at the Star in Frisco, as they've just concluded the national anthem, and we are getting ready to play some football here in just a few moments. It's going to be a very interesting game this evening between these two teams in this indoor facility, obviously playing on artificial turf, and the temperature will not be a huge factor. The wind will not be a huge factor. It will simply be an indoor game, which the Wildcats have played before. Not this particular team, but Wildcats in their history.
70 degrees and wind blowing north, south, east, and west at 1 mile an hour.
At least when the air conditioner comes on. So,
not in the booth, obviously.
Referees taking their places, and the team is getting ready to come onto the field. We're getting ready for the J. Hodge Chevrolet kickoff. The J. Hodge Chevrolet on Wildcat Way. We encourage you to go to J. Hodge Chevrolet. They have furnished us transportation this season to our out-of-town games, and we are thankful to Bill Owens and all the guys at J. Hodge Chevrolet for making that possible. Ball being set. Don Julian doing play-by-play.
And Brandon Zavala is teeing that ball up at the 40-yard line. Once again, I'm looking at the deep guys and wondering why. But looks like the deepest of the bunch for Frisco is going to be Blake May. As he's back there at the 5-yard line, they have a couple other receivers around the 15. And Zavala just about ready to put the foot into this one, get us going here. Just about exactly on time. Here's Brandon Zavala, a short kick toward the to the right, taken by Frisco, and good coverage by the Wildcats. A great tackle there by Kylan Wade.
Yes.
On the kickoff, as Kylan just grabbed a hold and wouldn't let go, and the ball carrier was tackled at the 21-yard line. That's where they're going to mark him. So Frisco will start their wing tee offense from their own 21-yard line.
Great open field tackle, just an initial contact bringing him down, and that's what the Wildcats are going to want to see all night.
And the last man has finally made his way into that Frisco huddle. He's one of the receivers. He checked in to get the count, and then he's way out to the right side. They come up with the quarterback under center, and here's a reverse around the right side for Frisco up to the 25, across the 30, close to the first down. The handoff went to the wingback, Blake May, and he will gain enough for a first down, 10 yards almost exactly. First down and 10 for the Raccoons at their own 31-yard line.
And a good run for Frisco here to get this game underway. Wildcat defense responding.
And now May is coming off.
A little hurt. Looks like
he looks a little shaken up after that tackle. He's kind of shaking his head. So we'll see if he can clear the cobwebs there. The helmet has come off, and they'll have a player coming in to replace him at the wingback position. And after what appears to be a huddle, here comes Frisco real quick from the 31-yard line. And the quarterback will hand off to the running back, and he is hit right away with very little gain for Nick Stanton. He will gain 1 yard on the play up to the 32-yard line. Wildcats defense that well, and it's second down and 9 from the 32-yard line of Frisco.
Good work by that defensive line for the Wildcats. In the middle for the Cats, of course, Guerrero.
Yeah, in Frisco, you don't see much huddle football anymore, but if you're going to run the wing tee, you might as well break out the whole retro look, right? But they do come up to the line of scrimmage very quickly. Here's 2nd down and 9, and here's a sweep to the right side. Flag goes down across the 35 up near the 40-yard line, but we do have some yellow laundry down on the ground, and appears to, initial signal to me, look like is against Frisco.
Moreno, the man who came in on that tackle very quickly for the Wildcats. Let's see what they do call here. They're still discussing it at about the 34-yard line. And here's the call.
We don't get this either. Illegal procedure against Frisco, and the Wildcats, I'm sure, will take that after a pretty good gain. And they will march them back to, well, he's getting ready to do that right now. Be a 5-yard mark off to the 27-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 14 for the Raccoons.
We can only hope the lineman on this side of the field kind of keeps a deaf ear here tonight. He's certainly getting it exercised.
And here comes Raccoons. Their quarterback Carter Yates, and Yates will hand off with the Wildcats. Oh my, they defensed that very well. And a loss of 1 on the play for Frisco, as that was kind of a counter there with one of the receivers, Bryson Clemens, running.
And Jose Rodriguez read that well. He just broke in, grabbed him, and laid him down.
Yeah, the Wildcats have looked good on everything but maybe the sweep plays to the wing back. They've had a little bit of trouble with that. Of course, the second one was flagged for a penalty. But here's 3rd down now and 15 needed for the Raccoons. And Yates will go straight back to pass, and he fires the ball out. It is caught across the 25, across the 30, and the Wildcats defense it well and stop the receiver at just about the original line of scrimmage. And that's going to be 4th down and 10 now for the Raccoons. 9:26 left here in the first quarter, and Frisco, with their initial drive, they appear to be ready to punt the ball.
Andy Eddings, the man who ran him out of bounds over there, pushed him on out. Good job by Andy.
And Austin Dodd is back deep. Ran into Austin's grandmother in the post office today. Needless to say, a proud grandma. Imagine that, Jimmy Rogers.
No, I can't imagine.
But he imagines because he's one himself. Here's a kick from Frisco. It's going to come up a little short. It takes a big hop, and Dodd takes it, and he's knocked right down to the ground. But he did have nerves of steel there as he made him think about just standing around the ball. But he was tackled at the 34-yard line. So 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats at their own 34.
And we're not waiting on a huddle here. Wildcats waiting on them to set the ball.
As DeCorian Young with an empty backfield, 3 receivers off to the left, 2 to the right. And so the Wildcats spreading them out here. And DeCorian back in the shotgun against this Frisco 4-3 defense. Back to DeCorian. He fires a pass to the left. It's caught, and up the field, that was Bryce McQueen. Pretty good gain on the play. Looks like about 8 yards. It'll be 2nd down and 2 now from the 42-yard line for the Wildcats in their own territory.
Not sure whose favorite play that was, but it worked nicely.
Bryce McQueen may have said, I like that one.
You bet.
2 receivers left and right in tandem for the Wildcats, and back to DeCorian Young, and a handoff Colton Allen, and Allen will move it up to the 45-yard line, and that's good enough for a 1st down for the Wildcats. 1st down and 10 at their own 45.
Sulphur Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down as the Cats are set and ready to go.
Each team with a 1st down now. I didn't need Butch Burney to tell me that, but one more stat, and I'll be overloaded, and I'll let Butch handle all the pencil work there. DeCorian Young from the shotgun, 2 receivers left and right, sends a man in motion, and now we'll throw the ball down the field, incomplete. I believe that ball was tipped.
It was.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 for the Wildcats at the 45-yard line.
Yeah, a Frisco defender got his hand up and slapped that one down.
Yeah, they've got awfully good defensive tackles. That's that 46 we see right in the middle. He's a big reason for that. He is
tall.
Draylon Washington. So 2nd down and 10 now for the Wildcats at their own 45-yard line. DeCorian in the shotgun. 2 receivers off to the right, 1 to the left for the Wildcats. Now he'll move his B back to the right side, and it'll be a running play with Colton Allen across the 45. Allen up to the 49-yard line. Going to be a gain of 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Wildcats at their own 3rd down and 6, excuse me, at their own 49-yard line.
And Hayden Daniel getting across to throw a couple of blocks there.
8:05 still left here in the first quarter. We're 0-0 from the beautiful Star over in Frisco. And 2 receivers to the left and 1 to the right, with the B back on the left side, kind of just off the line of scrimmage. Decorian Young from the shotgun will take the snap. And here's a pass. It's caught by Landry Tyson, and Tyson should have the first down. He got across the 45-yard line in Frisco territory, and that is good for a 1st and 10. Nice play by the Wildcats.
And very good play here as Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down.
Yeah, that's going to be, let's call it the 44-yard line. It's pretty close, about a foot or so. And the Wildcats have 2 receivers out to the right, single receiver to the left against the Frisco defense. Back to Decorian Young. He fires a pass, incomplete to Jermon Bryant Amos, and he couldn't hold on. Looked like it may have been close to right over the top of his head, and that's a tough catch. But Jermon could not latch on, so an incomplete pass. It'll be 2nd down and 10 from the 44-yard line.
7:15 to go in the first quarter. No score in our game.
And Decorian Young back there with 2 receivers to the left and single receiver out to the right. And Decorian settling down now and takes the snap. He's back to pass and fires a pass, and it is caught by Jermon Bryant Amos. And he moves, give him another chance there, and he made a good play, and he's down to the 37-yard line. That'll be 3 yards short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and 3 for the Wildcats, and they are literally waiting for that official to mark the ball so they can try to get this play underway here as they are trying to up-tempo Frisco a little bit. With 6:50 left here in the first quarter, we're at 0-0 from the Ford Center at the Star. Decorian Young takes the snap, and it's a running play. It's a handoff, and Chalk Sims will be cut down a yard short of the 1st down. It's going to be 4th down and 1 for the Wildcats at the Frisco 35-yard line. So the first big decision time for the Wildcats. But actually, I'm not sure this one's so tough. How about just go for it?
That's exactly what they're going to do. There wasn't even any second thought given.
Yeah, they saw the situation and sized it up, the coaching staff, quickly here. So a big play now for both teams here on 4th and 1 at the Frisco 35-yard line. And now the Wildcats are going to talk about it and take time out. 6:07 left in the first quarter. Frisco 0, the Wildcats 0. We'll take a break here, back in a moment.
6:07 left in the first quarter, no score, but the Wildcats with a 4th down and 1.
Some of the purists would say 0-0 is a score, but that's an argument that can happen in many bars all the time, all over America. 4th down and 1 now, and there's Decorian Young taking the snap. Handoff Chalk Sims. 1st down for the Wildcats as Chalk runs for 3 yards down to the 32-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats. Nice hole for Chalk to run through. It closed kind of quickly, but it did its job.
It did. Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down, and one that they desperately needed.
So it keeps the drive alive here as the clock 6:02 here in the first quarter with a 0-0 our score. And Decorian Young with a running back to his left, 3 receivers left, 1 to the right, a throw down the field. It's incomplete. Bryce McQueen couldn't hang on, was a little bit behind him, and he reached back and just couldn't pull it in. So a drop makes it 2nd down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 32-yard line.
And there were a couple of guys in a row there for Young to choose.
He's got the 3 receivers again to the left, a single receiver out to the right with his running back Chalk Sims. Back there, you actually have Decorian and Decorian. And here is a handoff to Chalk Sims across the 30, 25, and Sims finally thrown down at the 23-yard line. 1 yard short of the 1st down. It'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Wildcats at the 23-yard line.
Sims did a great job keeping his balance on that play to pick up those yards.
Yeah, they tried a few arm tackles, and he ran through those pretty quickly. He did what a running back should do to an arm tackle and just kind of wave it off like a gnat on an elephant's back. Two receivers out to the left, two to the right. Well, one to the right, and the B-back is right behind the right offensive tackle. Decorian Young from the shotgun here on a big play, and he will try Chalk Sims again, hitting up in there. And, oh, he was hit right away. Did not make the first down as he was stopped at the 23-yard line. And now it's going to be 4th down again, and they may need 2 yards now on the play. Looked like that one actually did lose 1 yard. So 4th and 2, another big 4th down play for the Wildcats. The clock under 5 minutes here in the first quarter. This is the first Wildcat drive after Frisco registered a first down, but that was all, and then they had to punt. The Wildcats have hogged the ball since then, but so far nothing to show for it. They have 10 seconds to snap, still plenty of time for Decorian Young. Will take the snap, and here is a fake, and now Decorian rolling to the left, and he's going to try to run. He will not make it as he maybe gained a yard. He jumped up and signaled first down, but he is short. And he is a yard short on the run, and the ball will go over on downs, and Frisco will take over from their own, should be around the 23-yard line. And they may, well, let's say they're going to measure here. They're going to give the Wildcats a measurement. And so let's see. Decorian certainly thought he had made the line to gain.
Well, I think he's a couple of yards off here. Well, wait.
Sure looks like they're going to call the chain gang all the way across the field here.
They're not now.
Okay, they could eyeball this one, as John Madden used to say, with raw eyes. Always wondered about that. I guess that's without these binoculars that I use. But with raw eyes, the officials call that first down and 10 and over on downs on the Wildcats. And Frisco will now take over at their own 23-yard line. So both teams have come a cropper on their first offensive drive. The Wildcats moved handily down the field before they bogged down at the 23-yard line.
And the time change, or the change comes with 4:22 left to go here in the first quarter.
And Frisco back in their huddle. Yes, they do huddle. And here they come. They break, though, very quickly. And here's quarterback Yates. Handoff right up the middle. Stanton. And he will move to the 29-yard line. That's a gain of about 5 on the play. Straight ahead. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Raccoons. Rocky and company. And 2nd down and 5. Doug would enjoy that. He's a big Beatles fan. Sure, Rocky Raccoon was one of his favorite songs.
And the Wildcats defense getting set here, taking Frisco plenty of time.
And they quickly break the huddle as Yates, the quarterback, and he turns again, hands to Stanton, and this time the Wildcats hit him very quickly, draw it down at the 32-yard line. That's going to be about 2 yards short of the first down. It is a short 2, I'll tell you this, because they only need really like the 33 and a half. And so this is about 1.5 yards needed here on 3rd down for Frisco. And the Wildcats hoping to get tough here and see if they can force another punt. Yates comes up quickly, and he will hand off a sweep to the right side, a broken tackle, and down the field goes the wingback on the play. Again, that was May. Or no, I take that back. I think that was Stanton again on the run. And that is a first down for Frisco all the way up to the 39-yard line. Or was that 13? It was 13. That was Blake May. I think I had it right the first time. That 13 and 3 had me buffaloed there. First down and 10 now for the Raccoons. As a wide receiver again comes in to say, what did you say the account was? Thank you very much. I'll be out here to your right if you need me. And maybe once or twice a game he will. Here comes Frisco again up to the 39-yard line. And Yates, here's another sweep to the right. And they've done well. And this is May around the corner. And he is going to pick up another first down right at the 50-yard line. As that's been Frisco's best play right there, that wingback sweeping around the right side. And they have made a lot of yardage with that. And they're kind of saying, hey, that's our play, and you're going to have to stop it.
And 2:27 left to go here in the first quarter. No score.
And once again, Yates will hand off. This is Stanton hitting up in the middle, and the Wildcats get him after a yard or two. A really good defense again for the Wildcats, as again Daniel Marino, who's their leading man in tackles and assists, and has just about had an excellent game, as far as I know, every game for the Wildcats. And a gain of 2 on the play. 2nd down and 8. The ball at the Wildcats' 48-yard line for the Raccoons. One of the truly great mascots in Texas. I like that. And once again, Yates under center will take the snap. He's looking down. He's going to pass. Incomplete. He sailed it over the head of the receiver, and that was intended for Nick Bonilla. Incomplete. It'll be 3rd down and 8 for the Raccoons now at the Wildcats' 48-yard line. A rare pass by the Raccoons. And they huddle up. On a big 3rd down and 8, the Wildcats would like to hold. I like what I'm seeing from the Wildcats defense right now. And here's a handoff to Stanton, and he burst forward, but he's going to be short of the 1st down, but not very much, maybe about a yard or 2. Let's call it 2. It's going to be 4th down and 2 for Frisco, and they're going to go for it.
Damian Dugan, the man on the tackle for the Wildcats there.
So here's a big 4th and 2. Yates under center will take the snap, hand off to Stanton. He hits in there for a 1st down. He crossed the 40 and was knocked down at the 39-yard line. It must be the offensive line coach for Frisco there. It might be the head coach, because he is really yelling at those guys, for I think exhorting them for getting that 1st down. So 1st down and 10 for the Raccoons at the Wildcats' 39-yard line. They have to overcome a 4th down play there. Wildcats were hoping to bottle it up, but Frisco got just a few yards, only needed 2. So here come the Raccoons from the 39-yard line. The snap, and here's a handoff, a reverse to the right, and that carrier is going to get thrown out of bounds at the 37-yard line. That was Bryson Clemens. He's one of those ball carriers that's had about 350, 400 yards this season, according to their head coach, Vance Gibson. Very nice man. I enjoyed talking to him. If Gibson sounds familiar and you're over there or you've heard about Pleasant Grove football winning the state championship, that's Josh Gibson. That's his son over there at Pleasant Grove. And his brother, I think it's Justin, I believe, is his offensive coordinator. And now here's a running play, and now a pitch-back pass to the quarterback. He's hit as he throws, and it's almost intercepted. Boy, Daniel Marino just couldn't hang on, but he at least knocked the pass down on that pitch-back pass. And but the quarterback was really hammered. Jimmy, did you see who applied the pressure?
No, I was watching to see who was going to
intercept the
pass. Actually, yeah, I was really anticipating that one not getting anywhere. We got 41 seconds left to go in the 1st quarter.
Let's watch Doug's video, and you'll be able to identify the Wildcats that broke in there and really busted up that pitchback pass, because that's designed to deceive. And in fact, Frisco scored a touchdown in one of their games where the quarterback handed off and then went out for a pass. Here's 3rd down and 8 now, and Yates is back to pass. He's getting a big rush. He floats it down the field. It's tipped but caught. And that inside the 20, the receiver still moving at the 15 and then finally stopped at the 14-yard line. A Wildcat defender got a paw up and tipped the ball, but it was caught by Frisco, and I think, that receiver down the field.
Yeah, that was number 5, I think that was.
Yeah, Dante Reese.
Yep.
And so Dante Reese it's hard to catch a tip ball sometime. It just changes everything, but he kept that concentration. And so Frisco gets the first kind of fluky break of the ball game. Tip ball that was caught. 1st down and 10 from the 13-yard line. Yates under center. He's back to pass and going to throw again. He's got the passing bug, but he's going to keep. And he's across the 10, and the Wildcats bring him down at about the 8-yard line. That'll be a gain of 5 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 5 for the Raccoons at the 8-yard line.
When we start the 2nd quarter, because that's the end of the first
quarter. And 0-0 here from the Star, the Wildcats, and the Raccoons. And let's hold on. We may have a penalty.
They're finally calling it.
Okay, so I thought if there's a penalty on the last play, you go ahead and get another play, but not this time. We'll take the break, and we'll be back in a moment.
Well, we'll begin the second quarter here at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. There is no score in our game, or a 0-0 score, if you please, or nil, with the second quarter getting underway.
Nil?
Nil.
That sounds like soccer stuff sneaking in here.
Well, we don't score it like cricket, so.
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't be cricket, would it?
Here we go.
And here's Yates coming under center on 2nd down and 5, and he will hand off in a big hole there for Frisco, and a touchdown as they roar all the way into the end zone. So an 8-yard touchdown run for the Raccoons.
I think that was Nick Stanton.
And that was
Stanton, I think, was the man who took that one in. Am I right?
I believe you're right.
Number 3, Stanton.
Yes, you're right. So an 8-yard touchdown run by Nick Stanton, and that was blocked pretty well. They kind of bottled him up, but he made the run that time for the TD. An extra point pending here, and their kicker here, Peter Arena. The snap is, ball is down, the kick on the way, it flutters toward the goal post, and it's right through the uprights. So we have 11:53 left to play in the second quarter. A new score here from the Star. It's Frisco Raccoons 7, the Sulphur Springs Wildcats 0. We'll take a break, back in a moment.
11:53 to go here in our second quarter. Frisco on the board with 7. Wildcats yet to get on the board. Now, to just kind of update you also, Frisco has all 3 of their timeouts left. Wildcats have 2.
And they used 2 kickers. We just mentioned Arena. Now, this is Gaster is now going to kick off. Jake Gaster, and I've seen newspaper clippings where both of these guys have kicked extra points for one reason or the other, but they've kind of gone back, and I don't know if there was injury problems but anyway, the Gaster will now kick off. Wildcats have a couple of guys deep back there, probably Dugan and Davis if I had to guess, and I do because I couldn't spy their numbers for here. Here's Gaster's kickoff, and it's a deep kick, and it's going to be did he touch the ball? Oh, surely he didn't, but I think he did. And he did touch it at the 7-yard line as it went out of bounds. Caden Davis, he looked like he was very intent on catching that ball, and should have let that one go. But first down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 7-yard line.
Yep, that's the call.
I mean, he hustled to try to get over there on that one. At some point, have to recognize that sideline there and just let that thing go, because it was heading out of bounds. Now the Wildcats, with a little bit of, a whole lot of bad field position here at the 7-yard line. Well, they'll just have to go 93, right?
Can be done.
Is Bryce McQueen in there? He's got a 92-yarder to his credit. So the Wildcats first down and 10 from the 7 to Corian Young. Back there in the shotgun, takes the snap. He's back in his own end zone. He sails the ball down the field. Incomplete. Went through the hands of Landry Tyson. He was being contested back there with Brandon Torres, one of the defensive backs. Incomplete pass. Second down and 10. The Wildcats at their own 7.
Yeah, Torres kind of reached in. I think that's made all the difference on that one.
Probably contesting with him just enough to bother him. Hey, yeah, this is something you don't see often. 4 receivers out to the right, single receiver to the left, empty backfield for Decorian Young. And we'll take the snap. Quick pass, and it's caught out there across the 10. Austin Dodd across the 15. He's going to be a yard short of the first down. So it'll be 3rd down and 1 for the Wildcats at their own 16-yard line.
Took a risk there as Frisco sent a guy in, but got that pass away in time, picked up the yardage they needed.
Well, the reason they had, with the well-designed play there, they had those 4 guys, and 3 of them became instant blockers for Austin Dodd. So I like that, Matt Young. Nice play. 3rd down and 1 from the 16-yard line. Back to Decorian Young. Here's a running play for the Wildcats. Caden Davis, very close. Looked like he got the first down. The chain gang's ready to move. Yeah, and they're going to first down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 17-yard line.
Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down when they really needed one.
And let's just keep it at the 17, I guess. It's kind of splitting the difference. 11:01 left in the second quarter. Frisco has a 7-0 lead as they just scored on their second drive. This is just the Wildcats' second drive in the ball game. Decorian Young from another empty backfield has 3 receivers left, 2 to the right. back there in the shotgun, will take the snap, gets a big rush, and he fires the ball, and it is incomplete. Could not be caught over there by the receiver, Caden Davis.
The good news is he had a receiver over there because he really needed to get rid of the ball.
Yeah, he knew where Davis was. He just came up a little short on the throw. He was throwing under duress. It'll be second down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 17-yard line. They'll have two receivers left and right in tandem, where one right behind the other. I guess there's all kinds of fancy cuts and everything you can do off that. Or a defender not sure where you're going to go. Decorian Young from the shotgun on second down and 10. Will take the snap, fake to the running back. Here's a pass. It's caught by McQueen, and McQueen moves forward. He's going to move up to around the 26-yard line. It'll be about 1 yard short of the first down. And so third down and 1 for the Wildcats at the 26.
And Frisco playing kind of a zone defense on that. They had guys just guarding zones primarily.
Another good catch by Bryce McQueen. A trip receiver's out to the left, single receiver to the right on this big third down and 1 play for the Wildcats. And as Frisco jumps offside, Decorian Young will sail one down the field toward Landry Tyson, incomplete. And you know what? Oh, there
it is.
I was going to say, I looked at the far side of the field, didn't see any flag, but it's here on the near side. And Frisco clearly jumping and drawing the offside. That'll be an automatic first down for the Wildcats by penalty. They had a free down, and that's why Decorian took the shot there.
And with 10:03 left to go here in the first half.
I almost said 0-0. We were there for such a long time. Frisco leading 7-0. And first down for the Wildcats at the 31.5-yard line.
And a Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down on penalty.
Trip receivers out to the left, single receiver to the right for Decorian Young. Will take the snap, fake to the running back, fires the ball down the field, incomplete, tried to get it into Bryce McQueen, and then a Frisco player picked him up and dumped him on the ground, but McQueen has compounded the felony, I'm afraid, by getting back in the guy and dumping him, and so that may make it offsetting penalties when he would have had a case for a personal foul.
Yeah.
I think, and I said all that, and I'll apologize to him if I'm wrong, but right now he is in deep conversation with, I think, Coach Metter over there as he came off the field. Flags all over the place.
And the referee's in deep conversation as well, because that throw by number 10 could be a ejectable penalty, I would think.
Now, yeah, it would irritate the fire out of you if after an incomplete pass somebody dumps you on the ground like that. And here's the call. See what we have.
Unsportsman on
Unsportsman
Frisco.
this side, and unsportsman this side. Okay, offsetting penalties. So Wildcats had a case for a 15-yard penalty, and but again, you know, it's very hard to keep your cool when something like that happens to you. What is that old poem about keeping your head when all those are losing it around you? And so basically that's the never mind play from the old Saturday Night Live days back in the 70s. When
Frisco leaving number 10 in the game.
Yeah, there are no ejections or anything, just offsetting personal foul. Second down and 10 now from the 32-yard line. Decorian Young from the shotgun takes the snap, running play to Chalk Sims, and he's hit right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. Nice aggressive tackle there by their middle linebacker. He is the tackle machine. That is Aaron Taylor. So no gain on the play. It's third down now and 10 for the Wildcats at the 32-yard line as they need to pick it up here.
Frisco. Yeah.
Go ahead, Jimmy.
I was just going to say, Frisco making some very quick defensive changes in that line.
Yeah, they like to run those tackles in and out. They've got 3 good ones for 2 positions. Decorian Young from the shotgun takes the snap. He's back to pass and looking, firing. It's caught by Austin Dodd, and Dodd will have the first down. He's up to the 45-yard line. A nice catch by Dodd hanging on there. And the Wildcats first down and 10. They're going to move it all the way up to the 47-yard line, Jimmy.
And Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down.
And the Wildcats tempoing now up, tempo a little bit. Trip receivers left. Single receiver to the right, running back next to Decorian Young. Will take the snap. Decorian back to pass, looking and looking. Now he fires the ball down the field, incomplete. Trying to hit the receiver and unable to do so there. That was Haney. And Haney, the intended receiver, incomplete. So second down and 10 for the Wildcats at their own 47-yard line. 8:58 left in the second quarter. Clock stopped on the incomplete pass. And Frisco leading 7-0 as they scored on, I guess, the very first play of the second quarter. DeCorian Young from the shotgun will take the snap, and here's a running play to Colton Allen. Allen across the 50 to the 45. Allen across the 40, 1st and 10 for the Wildcats. Nice run by Colton Allen across the 40 down around the 38-yard line for the Wildcats.
And that Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down just in time.
I think that perhaps is the best-looking running play we've seen from the Wildcats. I may be forgetting one because they had a pretty nice drive the first time around before they went over on downs.
Good block in there by Daniel again.
Yeah, the Hoss. And once again, DeCorian Young takes the snap, and here's a handoff, Chalk Sims. And Sims burrowing up to the 36-yard line. That'll be a gain of a couple of yards on the play. It'll be, let's call it 3. It'll be second down and 7 for the Wildcats just outside the 35-yard line.
Took that one across the left side of the line. Good blocking for the Wildcats.
2 receivers out to the right, single receiver to the left. That running back just to the left of the left-handed quarterback, DeCorian Young, the senior, as a lot of these guys are. Back to DeCorian. Fires the ball up the field. Caught by Landry Tyson. First down and 10. Tyson down to the 27-yard line. Nice catch by Landry Tyson.
For that Sulphur Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down.
Landry just looks like he's getting better every week catching that football, becoming a bigger part of the offense. So first down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 27-yard line. Again, Sims right there next to DeCorian Young. And Young takes the snap and hands off to Chalk Sims. And Sims, somebody grabbed a leg and kept him from breaking loose, but he did get down to the 23-yard line. Yep. Gain of 4 on the play. Second down and 6 for the Wildcats at the 23 in Frisco territory.
7:12 left to go here in the first half of play. 7 for Frisco. Wildcats knocking at the door.
Took the words right out of my mouth, but that's good. We'd rather both be thinking of that than just sitting here idly forgetting about all you fans out there wondering time and score. And here's DeCorian Young with an out pattern. It is caught by Landry Tyson, and he's going to be down to the 19-yard line. Looks like about 3 yards short of the first down. And so third down and 3 for the Wildcats at the Frisco 19. And this definitely has a feel for 4-down territory.
Definitely does, and it's a good spot here for the Wildcats to be in. Far enough out, third down, they've got a chance here to do something.
You have 2 receivers left and 1 to the right. DeCorian Young takes the snap, and here's a handoff. Colton Allen, he's caught from behind. And loss on the play back to the 21 or 22-yard line.
That was Bonilla who came in from behind to make that tackle.
And so it's going to be 4th down and about 4 needed now for the Wildcats. That play hurt them.
Well, the Frisco coaches are here beside us, and one of them got real excited about that. Obviously, he'd been seeing this coming, so.
Yeah, it was kind of a slow developing running play, and Frisco seemed to take advantage of that. 2 receivers left and right here on 4th down and 4 for the Wildcats. This is a huge play as they hope to tie the ball game here. DeCorian Young from the shotgun will take the snap. He's back to pass. He sails toward the end zone. The receiver ran a different route than he threw, and the Wildcats for the second time in the ball game will go over on downs, this one at around the 21-yard line.
6:04 left to go here in the first half of play. Coming up at halftime, we'll be talking to Butch Burney about the statistics of the first half of play.
And Butch will probably talk about how that for those over on downs just kind of slammed the door there. And the Wildcats have had 2 of them again, both of them down there at about the same spot in the field, about the 21, 23-yard line. Here's a running play for Frisco, the back breaking through there up to the 27-yard line. This is going to be a gain of 6 on the play. And again, that was Stanton, and he will get the lion's share of yards. He came into the ball game with 1,003 yards rushing this season in their 10 ball games.
Chase Haney made a good tackle there.
and that's a cool average of about 100 and change. Here's a second down for the Raccoons, and they will again give to Stanton, and he's through there and picks up the first down all the way up to the 34-yard line.
And that Frisco line making a very nice hole on that left side, on the left side. They do have a player down.
Well, the Wildcats do.
No, Wildcats do, that's right.
Yeah, and so we have that's Nacho Guerrero that needs some attention there, and they're going to check in with him. And so we have an injury timeout. 5:31 left in the second quarter. Frisco 7, Wildcats 0. Back in a moment.
5:31 left to go in the first half of play. Guerrero making his way off the field under his own power.
Yeah, he's got a slight limp, but he's not does not need assistance, and so hopefully they can get him back in there. He's quite a competitor. So first down and 10 now for the Raccoons at the 34-yard line, and here's a pitch coming to the left around the corner for Stanton. A flag flies at the end of that play. Stanton on the run and got another first down, but hold everything on the flag.
I think that's what it was.
I would not be surprised. That's if I had a prediction, that's what it would be. An earnest conversation between the Serengeti guys.
What we got here?
The Zebras. Face mask on the Wildcats. Well, see, you get into the prediction business and they blow up in your face like that. Boy, and this will be a huge 15-yard penalty tacked on at the end of that play. And here it comes. It'll move it down close to the Wildcats' 35-yard line. They'll put it down at the 36. My.
Well, that hurt the Wildcats, certainly, but plus for Frisco.
You know, it's that kind of little stuff you'll remember at the end of a game. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Of course, nobody goes out with the intent of grabbing a face mask. It's always just kind of inadvertent. First down now from the Wildcats 36, and here's Stanton once again on the play, breaking tackles and moving close to another first down. He may be a foot short or something, but it's going to be very close to another first down for the Raccoons as they are really rolling now. They're 1 yard, about half a yard short, second down and about one. We look, timeout taken. 5 minutes left in the second quarter. The Wildcats need to talk it over. Frisco 7, the Wildcats 0. We'll take a break, back in a moment.
Exactly 5 minutes left in the first half of play. It is Frisco 7, Wildcats 0.
And Frisco has the offensive coordinator's delight here. Second down and a foot, and they're going to throw on second down. Here's a sail toward the end zone, and incomplete, but an interference call. Flags flying everywhere in the end zone, as that was intended for Brandon Torres, and he was interfered with, and that will cost the Wildcats some yardage, and it will be a automatic first down. Well, it'll be a first down anyway on the penalty. And again, I'm making the call for the officials, but I saw it.
Got a little holding against the Wildcats, they're calling it?
And I'd say yes. So mark that off. And here is the mark off from about the 25-yard line. And moving inside the 20 down to the 17-yard line. First down and 10 for Frisco's the 12-yard line. I'll get it right, with or without assistance.
Well, then he moved it even after you said that.
Yeah, to the 11 and two-thirds. Gave him another foot for good measure. So from the 12-yard line, here's a pitch and a runner to the left. Nice blocking, and Stanton is knocked out of bounds at about the 5-yard line, and boy, he is like the horse that's got the bit and the teeth, and really beginning to take off. He is really feeling his oats out there as a running back and beginning to get some big yardage now as Frisco is running some stuff they really like, and they have second down and 2 from the 5-yard line. And here come the Raccoons trying to get their second touchdown of the ball game. And Yates, the quarterback, handoff. Stanton is going to get all the way in for a touchdown. He leaned over the goal line, his last motion there, and went across the goal line. A 5-yard touchdown run for Stanton for the Raccoons. So let's put that into the books. At some point I'll want to know that. So extra point pending now for Frisco. And once again, their kicker, Peter Arena. There's a ball down and the kick on the way. And it no good. I thought that went left, and it sure did. It was wide left. So kick no good. And we'll see if that has a bearing on the ball game. We have 4:45 left here in the second quarter. It's Frisco 13 and the Wildcats 0. And we'll take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
4:45 left to go in our first half, and Frisco 13, the Wildcats 0. Wildcats have one timeout left. Frisco has all three of theirs remaining.
And with the Wildcats offense, they can clearly move from one end to the other in 4:45. So they can get, that would be a big touchdown if they could here to kind of cut that gap in half and feel a little bit better about yourself going into the halftime locker room. And once again, Gaster, Gaster, doing the kickoff for the Frisco Raccoons. Jimmy mentioned District 7, right?
Right.
We're District 8.
Right.
For football purposes only, otherwise we're like 15 or something.
Right.
And here's Gaster's kickoff, and he puts the toe into it, kicks it toward Damian Dugan over his head all the way through the end zone, so a touchback. And the Wildcats will have it 1st and 10 out around the 25-yard line. After that kick got over Damian Dugan's head, and then they'll mark it 1st and 10 at the 25. This will be only the third drive for the Wildcats, and so far they've driven all the way down near what they call the green zone. They don't like red zone. Red means stop, and they want to go, but they have stopped tonight. They stopped at the 23 and the 21-yard line. So here's the third drive now for the Wildcats to try to see if they can cut that score in half at least. Decorian Young from the shotgun, trip receivers left and 2 to the right. Going to throw to the left. It's caught. Austin Dodd. Dodd is knocked off his feet at about the 29-yard line. And that is a gain of 4 on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 6 for the Wildcats at their own, well, they're moving it back to the 28-yard line now, so a gain of only 3. It'll be 2nd down and 7 from, that's the 28-yard line. Gain of 3 anyway, so it's still 2nd down and 7 from the 28-yard line. And back to Decorian Young. Here's a running play. Chalk Sims across the 30. And he's going to be stopped at about the 31-yard line. I'll call it the 32. Yeah. That's 3 yards short of the first down. 3rd down and 3 for the Wildcats at their own 32-yard line. So this is a big play here. You don't want to, the way Frisco moved that ball, you don't want to give it back to them with 3:51 left on the clock. So this is a big play in this ball game right here. 3rd down and 3. Decorian Young from the shotgun. 2 receivers left and right. Will take the snap. Back to pass. He's flush from the pocket. Fires the ball down to Chalk Sims. A good catch across the 40. And Chalk across the 45-yard line. 1st down and 10 for the Wildcats as Chalk Sims takes it up to the 47-yard line.
Well, that's Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep 1st down. A good gain for the Wildcats.
Yeah, right before that play got underway, Chalk kind of floated out to the flat and then caught the ball and made a good run as he was relatively open. And the Wildcats with receivers split all over the place. 4 receivers over to the left side last time they threw in that direction. On 1st and 10 for the Wildcats, their own 46. This time they'll throw the other way, and it's caught by Jace Thompson. Hey, Jace, good to see you back in there, buddy. We heard a broken foot, but he may still do it, but he's game and in there playing for the Wildcats, giving it all he's got. He picked up a 1st down at the 40-yard line. Frisco player down and injured, and they'll check on him. 3:07 left in the second quarter. Frisco 13, Wildcats 0. Injured player timeout. Back in a moment.
3:07 to go here in the first half of play as the Frisco player makes his way off the field.
Looks like cramps to me, and that's Draylon Washington, that big defensive tackle. And he's probably, if not the best, he's right up there with them. but he kind of cramped up. I think he'll probably be back in there. The Wildcats, first down and 10 from the Frisco 40-yard line, 3:04 and counting as the clock is now rolling. DeCorian Young from the shotgun. The Wildcats trying to get back in this ball game. DeCorian back to pass, sails it out to his halfback. Oh, it could not hang on. That was Caden Davis, and he comes up jumping like a jumping jack because he knows deep down inside he should have caught that football. And he was probably amped up. He was probably ready to bowl over some of those blue-clad raccoons after the catch and just could not hang on. Incomplete pass, second down and 10 for the Wildcats. Jace Thompson out to the right. Good to see him. Trip receivers to the left. I heard he might play, and I was kind of doubtful. It took him a while to get in there, but good to see him back out on the field and making a catch. DeCorian Young as Derek Driver drops by. Here's DeCorian's pass, but hold everything.
Got offside,
disrupted there. Jimmy said Frisco was offside.
No, they called
illegal procedure?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if somebody moves first, they can jump offside.
Yep, that's what happened.
Yep, that'll cost the Wildcats 5 yards. So it's still second down now, 15 needed from the 45-yard line.
Always a delight to have Principal Derek Driver drop by.
It certainly is. 4 receivers again out to the left side. Boy, I don't remember seeing this formation before. I think the Wildcats stirred the pot and created something new here. DeCorian Young back to pass. He sails it down the field. Incomplete. Went through Landry Tyson's hands and almost into a Frisco Raccoon's hands, but he couldn't hold it. And the Wildcats face now a third down and 15 from their own 45. That may have been tipped.
It went through a lot of hands before it got there.
Yeah, it looked like it had a strange trajectory heading toward Landry Tyson there. And again, a tip ball is hard to catch. That changed of direction at the last moment. Oh, Butch Burney was an old receiver. I'm sure he could tell us all about that. 2 receivers left, 1 to the right for DeCorian Young on this 3rd and 15. Back to pass, and he's got a big rush. He's under pressure, and now will sail the ball toward the sideline and just incomplete for the Wildcats. And he definitely had a receiver over there. He had Davis, Caden Davis.
And he was outside the hash mark, so that was good news as well.
Well, the only bad news, well, of course, the chief bad news, incomplete pass, 4th down and 15 for the Wildcats. And Jermon Bryant Amos comes on to try to punt Frisco deep. But still 2:39 left here in the second quarter as Mo has grabbed a blue jersey here in the first half. In the second quarter, really, we were scoreless after the first quarter, but Frisco has scored twice. Here's back to Jermon Bryant Amos. He gets the boot away, caught off on the fair catch at the 15-yard line for Frisco, and that's where they'll have it. First down and 10. They still have 2:33 left here in the second quarter, and they lead 13-0. They've only had 3 drives in the ball game. Both teams have had the ball 3 times. Again, the Wildcats over on downs twice and punt. And Frisco, their first drive, they punted, and then the last 2 they went the distance on touchdown drives. With 77 yards on one and about 79 on the others. Here's a Frisco play that blew up on them, and a big sack for the Wildcats back at the 10-yard line. And so that is a loss of 5 on the play, and it'll be second down and 15 from the 10-yard line.
Kalen Wade bringing down number 3, Stanton.
Yeah, Wade was number 2 on the list this week for tackles plus assist, the way the Wildcats coaching staff keeps it. He had 66 of those, and Daniel Marino's kind of the leader way out there with 77. And the Raccoons talking it over, and then they break and come rushing to the line of scrimmage. And Yates, the quarterback, from the 10-yard line, and here's a sweep to the right side for Frisco, and the running back got the lost yardage back, and then a little bit more is running with the ball was the wingback Blake May, as he crosses the 15 up to about the 17-yard line. It's going to be third down, and timeout taken here before we play another play. 1:38 left here in the second quarter. Frisco 13, the Wildcats 0. Let's take a break. Back in a moment.
1:38 left to go here in the first half of play. 13 for Frisco. The Wildcats need to get on the board, but Frisco has the ball.
Yeah, they do, and it's 3rd down and 8. Ball at the 17-yard line for the Raccoons. Wildcats with 1:38 left, hoping to stop Frisco here and see the ball one more time. Yates, quarterback. Well, now step back into the shotgun. They send 3 receivers off to the right, 1 to the left. You don't see this often for Frisco. Back to pass, big rush and a sack, but the quarterback did a great job of getting back. He corkscrewed himself back to the line of scrimmage after the Wildcats had him back there about 5 yards. And the Wildcats should get the ball back here. There's 1:20 left. The play clock is at 31 seconds, so they'll be less than a minute by the time they punt the ball here, as the Wildcats have held at the 17 and should get some fairly decent field position. Austin Dodd is back to the 40-yard line for the Wildcats. He would like to do like he did against Royce City and take that punt all the way back for the Wildcats. Dodd's been the kind of player that has made some inspirational plays for the Wildcats this year, and this would be a good spot for one of them. No pressure, Austin, and now we have another timeout taken here on the field. 46 seconds left here in the second quarter. Frisco 13, the Wildcats 0. Back in a moment. Punt time for Frisco. As, again, Austin Dodd back around his own 45, back to the Raccoons punter, and he gets it out of there. It's a low kick. It'll take a big hop, but Dodd will pick it up, and he is at the 35. He's around the corner to the 40. Dodd to the 45, to the 50. Dodd breaking tackles and getting all the way down to the 44-yard line. Good return. There are just 29 seconds left, but a nice gutsy punt return. That's the second time we've seen Dodd pick one of those up, with Raccoons literally everywhere around the ball.
And that was the word I was going to use, a gutsy run for Dodd. He certainly did a great job there.
And, you know, in his typical fashion of running that ball and breaking tackles and making things happen. From the 45-yard line for the Wildcats with 29 seconds left, Decorian Young from the shotgun. 2 receivers left and right as the Wildcats try to get on the board quickly here. Back to Decorian Young. Well, a player came shooting in there. A flag flies. It'll be a hold, I'm afraid. And Landry Tyson made the catch, about an 8-yard gain. But when that player broke through there on the rush, and that big fella was, I believe that was A.J. Denota.
Yep.
And a holding call on the Wildcats as somebody reached out and grabbed, and it negated the catch for the Wildcats. But boy, that player just came right through there. 10-yard mark off, and well, looks like a 15-yard penalty for holding. Back to the 40-yard line.
May have got a hand in a face mask on that or something.
So first down and a bunch now. About 25 for the Wildcats. Back to Decorian Young. He steps up in the pocket and looking well down the field. Now he's going to run across the 45. Then he slides down. Looked like he kind of got hit at the end of that play. But the Wildcats have 11 seconds. The officials put the ball down at the Wildcats' 48-yard line. And here's second down and long for the Wildcats. Back to Decorian Young. He's going to sail the ball down. It's caught. And he runs into the middle of the field, and now the Wildcats trying to make something happen, but Landry Tyson was running away from the goal line to try to make something happen, and he ran right into a defender and was tackled, and that's the end of the first half. My goodness, Wildcats with a player down on the field, and they'll have to, it's one of their big linemen, looks like, and they'll have to take care of him. He's rolling over on his back now, needing a little assistance. So the Wildcats training staff will take care of that. But the first half, a miserable first half for the Wildcats. It just seemed like some unfortunate plays as that player is now hopped up. And I can see who that is. It looks like Chandler Leo, who's a backup center for the Wildcats. He stepped in for Ethan Rogers and done a good job.
Yes.
He's walking that off. We hope he can get back out there. But the Wildcats going over on downs a couple of plays, and then they end, you know, that heading in the wrong direction, and oh my, just punts, and Frisco has been able to move the ball a couple of times, and they take a 13-0 lead into the half. And we'll turn it over to Jimmy and Butch, and you guys have got some time to fill.
It is the Galleon Insurance, Silver Springs Floral, Century 21 Hometown Discount Wheel and Tire halftime show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Our score, Frisco 13, Wildcats 0, and we are at halftime. The Wildcat Blue Band and Blue Blazes performing. They're performing toward the visitor side of the field, which of course is the Wildcat side, and so we certainly celebrate with them this good night that they are having as far as the band and drill team are concerned. But for Wildcat football, it's not such a great night, Butch Burney, as we look at some of the things that have taken place. We've seen the Wildcats pick up some yardage, but not really put any points on the board.
That's exactly right, Jimmy. They've got enough yards. They've actually accumulated more yards in the first half than Frisco has, but they just haven't been able to do anything once they get in scoring position. As Don has pointed out a couple of times, they've stalled out right around the 20-yard line on 2 of their drives. And when we look at the statistics, we'll see that for Sulphur Springs, they have 161 total yards in the first half. Not a great output, but usually if you have 161 yards and a half, you have scored points.
Right.
And they haven't been able to do that. The Wildcats have 54 yards rushing on 15 carries. Their main ball carrier has been Chalk Sims. He's got 23 yards on 7 carries. Colton Allen has 20 yards on 4 carries. DeCorian Young has 9 yards on 2 carries, and Caden Davis has 2 yards on 2 carries. Then passing, Silver Springs has already thrown the ball 23 times in the first half. And DeCorian Young is 12 completions out of 23 attempts for 107 yards. His top receivers have been Austin Dodd, who's got 3 catches for 27 yards. Landry Tyson has 4 catches for 28 yards. Bryce McQueen, 2 catches for 17, and then he's got 3 other players he's thrown to that have caught 1 pass, and that's Jamon Bryant Amos, Chalk Sims, and Jace Thompson each have 1 catch. So he's thrown the ball to 6 different receivers out of his 12 completions. The Wildcats have been penalized 4 times for 45 yards, and those have been key in Frisco scoring drives. They punted the ball once and do not have a turnover. Frisco has 141 total yards. So Silver Springs 161, Frisco 141. Frisco has 113 yards rushing on 22 carries. Nick Stanton has 72 of those yards on 14 carries. He's been their main ball carrier. But they've also had some success on the end around the wing-back sweeps. And on those, they've actually gained about 45 yards on those plays. Passing-wise, Frisco's only thrown the ball 4 times. They're 2 of 4 for 28 yards. So you add that up, 141 yards for Frisco. They have 11 first downs. Silver Springs has 10 first downs. Frisco has punted the ball twice. They only have 2 penalties for 10 yards. So when you look at the stats, you would think Silver Springs will be in a closer game, if not leading, at least closer than 13-0. But, Jimmy, one of the things that we've seen from Frisco is they've had 2 scoring drives where they've accumulated all their yards. Their other 2 drives, other 2 possessions that they've had in the first half, they went nowhere.
Right.
And so they've been able to accumulate their yards, but even then, 141 yards. But then Silver Springs has a 15-yard face mask penalty, a 10-yard defensive holding penalty, I think a 5-yard offside penalty. So when you start adding those into their total yards, all of a sudden instead of you look at it and say, well, they got 141, but you add those penalties in, and all of a sudden now they're up to 200 yards of total offense when you look at it that way.
Yeah, you're exactly right. And, the tough news is that 2 of their offensive plays ended at the goal line when they crossed it. Your numbers stopped counting there, and for the Wildcats, that's been the greater loss here in this first half of play.
Yeah, and I was looking at the Silver Springs drives, and their first drive was 12 plays. Their second drive was 15 plays. Their third drive was 7 plays, and of course their last drive ended with a half. But out of those, you have a 12-play drive and a 15-play drive. You expect to get some points out of it, but they just haven't been able to. One, partly because on the 15-play drive they were starting at their own 7-yard line, but they've had to go for it on fourth down. They went for it on fourth down 3 times. They converted 1. They've had a lot of third down plays where they converted. And then when you look at what Silver Springs have been able to do in terms of explosive plays, they just haven't had many. They had a 15-yard run by Colton Allen, and they had a 15-yard pass to Austin Dodd and another 15-yard pass to Chalk Sims there. But that's kind of 15-yard has been the extent of their plays. So if you're looking for something over 20 yards, they haven't been able to do that yet. And it's hard to just continue to convert third downs all the way down the field. And that's what's happened to them. They get down into right around the 20-yard line, and they don't convert on third. They have to go for it on fourth. They don't convert on fourth, and then you give Frisco the ball back.
13 plays in one series, 15 plays in another series. You would think that they would be kind of controlling the clock with that number of plays in that, but really Frisco has had the ball longer in many ways than the Wildcats.
Yeah, and part of it is Frisco huddles, and Frisco does something offensively that's I think old timers like myself, we saw this back in the 70s and 80s and before my time the 60s, where teams ran a lot of veers and wing tees and double wings and things like that, and that is they have a quick guard and a quick tackle and a strong guard and a strong tackle. And what that means is that every time they come to the line, that strong guard and strong tackle goes to the side of the tight end. And so and then they get up there very quickly. The quarterback, a lot of plays, they're snapping the ball on first sound. So the defense has very little time to react to what's the strong side and what's the weak side. And they've taken advantage of that, I think.
And they've discussed it all day in the huddle, so everybody knows what they're doing.
Yeah, yes. And a lot of teams used to do that back when they ran the option and ran wishbones and wing tees and things like that. You don't see that anymore because a lot of teams now don't even huddle.
Right.
But they do that. They do that short huddle. They run up to the line and then they're snapping the ball quick. And sometimes that works to their advantage because the defense doesn't have time to make any kind of defensive calls in that scenario. You've just got to go with whatever your base defense is, whatever you've called, and and attack the offense that way. Well,
and defensively, Frisco has really keyed on some of the Wildcats' key plays. I mean, what we've seen the Wildcats use a lot this season that's really been productive for them has not been here.
Yeah, and it seems, I don't know if Frisco's taking away the run. It doesn't look like they're stacking the box that much, but when you look at run-pass selection, Silver Springs has thrown the ball 23 times and only ran it 15 times. And coming in, it's been really a closer 50-50 mix of run-pass. Silver Springs is relying on the pass more this game, and I would think it's just because what they're seeing from the Frisco defense. They're running a pretty standard 4-3 defense from what I've seen, and maybe that lends itself more to the Wildcat offense throwing the ball than running it.
Right. And Frisco also is their secondary has been pretty zone-oriented in this game. They're not really keying on any particular person. They're just covering their area.
Yeah, and Sulphur Springs, as we've seen tonight, they've thrown the ball, DeCorian's thrown the ball to 6 different receivers, and that's kind of been the way it's been most of the year, where it's been Austin Dodd and it's been Landry Tyson and Bryce McQueen and Jace Thompson before he got hurt, all getting passes most games, and then you throw a couple to Sims or Davis or somebody out of the backfield, and so the Wildcats are continuing to do that. But I think one thing we've seen from Frisco is that they tackle very well. They're not, for the most part, letting Wildcats get extra yards, and their coverage on defense, as you mentioned, Jimmy, has been tight. I mean, the Wildcat receivers, when on balls they catch, they're getting hit pretty soon after they catch the ball, and they're just not able. What we've seen all year is we've seen Austin Dodd catch a 5-yard pass and turn it into a 50-yard touchdown, and Bryce McQueen and Landry Tyson, taking short passes and turn them into long gains. And that's one of the reasons when we look at our stat sheet and we only see a 15-yard pass has been the longest pass, it's because they just haven't been able to break free on any long runs, and they've been able to do that so many times this year that you look up and you see it's on the stat sheet, it shows a 50-yard pass. What we see on the field is a 10-yard pass and a 40-yard run.
Yeah. And that comes from the fact that, defensively, Frisco's got like 2 or 3 guys that are actually available to cover on that pass as opposed to being drawn off by another receiver.
Yeah, we've seen them blitz a few times, but for the most part, they're rushing 4. Maybe they bring a 5th rusher, but I think most of the time they're rushing 4 and they're just defending with 7 in the defensive backfield, and 7 players covering 4 receivers, and they're doing a good job. I'll give Frisco credit on the fact that they tackle well and they cover well, and both teams are playing hard. There hadn't been a lack of effort at all.
None.
I think Frisco is just executing better offensively, and then only being flagged twice for 2 times, both of them 5-yard penalties, and Sulphur Springs having some penalty issues at the wrong times, especially major penalties, has played a part in the game as well.
Frisco's just been running the ball right up the middle, right all across the right side, across the left side. And then when they do sprint out to the side, it's kind of like they're trying to wind this defense for Sulphur Springs. They're just trying to beat them down, so to speak. Yeah,
and I think they don't. From what we've seen from Frisco as far as the running game, they don't have a whole lot of different plays.
Right.
And I think this goes back to the type coach that they have, and that is our playbook may not be thick, but what we run, we're going to do it very well. And that's what they do. We're going to, they're going to base block. They're going to get up there. They're not going to give the defense time to make a whole lot of changes. So that helps the offensive lineman, because the defense can't come up there and decide we're going to fake a blitz, we're going to stunt, we're going to. You've just got to play it the way they run up to the line and snap the ball. So I think that helps the offensive lineman. So it's just a base block, and they're doing a real good job of just base blocking, man on man, and trying to open the holes. And the Frisco runners, especially Stanton, they run hard. They're straight ahead runners basically.
We're going to talk a little more about Wildcat football and this game here in just a moment, but let me help everyone know a couple of things that are important for KSST Radio, and that is tomorrow evening, of course, we have no Friday night game, but we still have the high school scoreboard. It'll start at 10 o'clock. It'll go to 11:30. They'll be giving you scores for the mini games that are going to be played on Friday. There's a smattering of games here on Thursday night, but most of the games will be played on Friday night, and so we'll be covering those scores from TSN Network, giving us the updates on that. Again, that's Friday evening, 10 o'clock until about 11:30. And then also let me remind you that at 9 a.m. Saturday morning, the Coaches Show, Don Julian will be talking about this game with Coach Greg Owens. And if the Wildcats are ending the season, it'll be kind of a wrap on this, getting ready for basketball to get underway. If not, we'll be talking about this game and the next one coming up. We'll be talking about how we can celebrate a win, and hopefully we'll get a chance to do that.
Right.
But of course, basketball season getting underway. Many of you saw the Wildcats and literally saw it if you went on YouTube, or if you keyed to it from our website, ksstradio.com. Also, our basketball games that we're covering this year, if you look in the right-hand corner, just under the headlines of the featured stories that we have, you'll see a little screen, and that's going to have the ball game on it. You can click that screen, go to the game. If you have YouTube on your television at home, or you can access it through either your cable link or your satellite update. If you have a way of accessing YouTube, you can have a KSST radio channel. If you go to the KSST radio channel, which we have, if you subscribe to that, you can go to that and watch the game there on YouTube. So we've got some opportunities with basketball. We can't do it with football. UIL will not let you do that with football. But with basketball, with baseball, softball, with soccer. We're going to be doing some of that this season as we have opportunity to let everyone not only hear the game on KSST, but if you have access to a television or a smartphone or a tablet, you can access it through YouTube as well and be able to watch the game and hear Don Julian give you play-by-play on all of those games. So we encourage you to take note of that and to make that a part of your planning. If you can't go to the game, you can see the game on KSST Radio YouTube channel. Of course, we're going to be videotaping the game for replay on Channel 18 as well. So, and we'll be uploading some of that to the internet, and you'll be able to see it through our website as well. So just to let you know, we have some of those things in store for you this season too. Butch, we look at the second half of play here, and it's going to be one of those things where the Wildcats play catch-up.
Yeah, and we've talked about some of the things that Frisco's done well, but the Wildcats have done things well.
They have.
Also, I mean, they've got, like we talked about, 160 yards of total offense. They've moved the ball down to the 20-yard line. They just need to convert down there. They need a few more explosive plays. I mean, the Wildcats are doing good things. They just haven't been able to cash in. So as we go to the second half, it's not a hopeless situation.
Right, exactly.
Obviously, Wildcats will be receiving the ball to start the second half. And we always talk about how important that those first series offensively and defensively are, and I think that's especially true here, because if you can go down and cut it to a one-touchdown game, then obviously anything can happen. If you don't score and Frisco scores, you're down 3 touchdowns, then you're really kind of in a desperation mode, even that early with that much time left in the game.
Right.
But I think so. And defensively, Silver Springs has played well. Frisco's had 4 possessions. One of them was a 3-and-out. One of them was a 4-and-out. The other 2 drives, they scored touchdowns. But and the defense is going to have to continue to play really well in the second half, because you can't trade touchdowns now. You've got to stop them and score a touchdown. But I think that first possession of the second half offensively is extremely important for the Wildcats, and defensively as well. I mean, Silver Springs can't afford to fall further behind, obviously, but they need to get Frisco on their heels a little bit.
Right. And Silver Springs has done a good job of responding at halftime and making some changes that were the adjustments that are needed to be able to do well against that. And
we've, especially defensively, we've seen that defensively. So I'm expecting the defense to allow the offense an opportunity to get back in this game and even win this game. But Frisco's a solid team. We've seen they're solid offensively, defensively, special teams. They're solid. So it's not going to be easy. But when you get to the playoffs, it shouldn't be easy. It's not easy. And so, and the coaches know that. They've been there. The players have been in these type games before. They've been down at halftime. They know what they have to do to respond. And
when you look at this Frisco team, they are a good-sized team. They've got a lot of strength out there on the field, and so that's been something that the Wildcats will have to make the adjustment toward also, to be able to finesse literally these bigger guys out of Frisco. Yeah,
and I think Frisco plays that offense and defense that they plays to their strengths.
Right.
They're as you say, they're big, strong. They're straight ahead blockers with that base blocking, and that's the kind of athletes they have, and that's the kind of offensive scheme they have, and that works well for them. And conversely, defensively, as Don pointed out a couple of times in the first half, that defensive line's pretty big.
Yeah. Especially
their defensive tackles. They've got some size there, and I think that's probably one of the reasons that Silver Springs hasn't been as effective running, is because the Wildcats like to run between the tackles a lot, and there's not a lot of room with those two guys there to run between tackles. It's hard to move those guys. So Frisco plays well to their strengths, but I think Silver Springs does too. I think a lot of Silver Springs' strengths are speed and ability in the open field.
Right.
And they usually do a good job of getting Sims and Allen and some of these guys in the open field, and then the receivers in the open field. And I think we're going to see Silver Springs have some explosive plays in the second half. as you know, they're just going to keep getting the ball in the hands of the guys who can make those plays, and I think it's going to happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. Let's talk a little bit about Ford Center here. This is really a nice place for a football game, high school football game especially.
Yes, I don't know how many it seats, but it's a
10,000, I think.
Yeah, it's a very adequate stadium. You're indoors, which is really nice, and the sight lines here are great. And, we talked about off air that as far as sidelines and being close to the action, this is one of the best press boxes I've been in.
Right.
This is really nice, and for all the things Jerry Jones doesn't do well with the Cowboys, one of the things he does do well is facilities and planning and management and that type of thing. And this is really a special place.
It is. It's coming up to it. There's quite a show that goes on outside with all of that, and it's just a really nice place. Although we will be hiring Sherpas to carry the load for us.
There's not a lot of parking close by.
No, not close by. So, but we'll make our way through all of that as we need to. We're getting ready for the second half of play here at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, and Frisco rapidly growing and high schools popping up. New ones being added every year.
Yeah, I think 10 now. 10
yeah, something like that. So it's going to be an interesting time.
And this is the original Frisco High School that was here whenever they were a 2A school and a 3A school, and this is where everybody went. And I don't know if what their star, if they have a star school or not, but I would think that the original high school is a good foundation
for everything.
Foundation, yes.
It really is. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we'll be ready for the second half of tonight's game. Thank you again, Butch Burney, for being with us, as you always are, at halftime. And let's take a break. We'll be back with more of our game. This is the Gallion Insurance, Sulphur Springs Floral, Century 21 Hometown Discount Wheel and Tire halftime show. We'll be back right after this. Welcome back to the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco, as tonight Frisco leads the Wildcats 13-0 here after the first half of play. The Wildcats will be getting the ball in the second half when we do resume. The teams are getting ready to come out onto the field and to the sidelines. Don Julian with us tonight doing play-by-play as always. Doug Haston videoing this game for replay on Channel 18, and we'll try to get it up online as well a little later tomorrow. And Butch Burney with us. He'll be writing the story later tonight for us for KSSTradio.com. I'm Jim Rogers. We're glad you're with us. And Don, this second half is going to be, I think, a wild and woolly time.
Well, there's bound to be a lot of those Wildcat seniors. There's so many. There's 33. I believe that's still correct. Mm-hmm. I don't know if anybody, I can't imagine anybody's dropped off, but they've got to be thinking, there are 2 quarters from the end of their football careers. And I don't want them to try to do too much. I think we saw some of that in the first half, where players were trying to just put the whole team on their back and try to make things happen. That none of that worked out very good. But they're so close, and I think the fact that Butch mentioned that they've gained more yards than Frisco, that tells you something right there. Mm-hmm. And once again, it's just something here and something there that can change in the second half. We just need to stay positive and see if we can't get them through this second half here. And the good news is they do, as Butch pointed out, they'll start with the football here in the third quarter, and that will be a big drive for them, a chance to get right back in this football game. After all said and done, I mean, my goodness, they're down 13-0. As the Wildcats came on the field, and now Frisco making their run out of the Raccoon run through there, and with all the smoke, of course, you got to have that now. And not much place for that smoke to go in here. It just kind of floats around, still kind of hanging up into the air where it can't. I guess it vents somewhere, but it's not finding it easy to get out of this place right now.
Jose Rodriguez led the Wildcats out onto the field, and he was cheering them on as they were following him. Jose, I know, is excited about this game and wanting to see some good things. That senior giving some leadership to this Wildcat team. We're getting ready for the J. Hodge Chevrolet second half kickoff. J. Hodge Chevrolet, located on Wildcat Way in Sulphur Springs. They furnish KSST broadcast team transportation, or a way of transportation, and we appreciate that from J. Hodge Chevrolet on Wildcat Way. Drop by. They've got some great looking trucks out there and other vehicles, both new and used. I think you'll be interested.
Yeah, you mentioned Jose Rodriguez. I'll never forget the first time he kind of came to my attention. He was just literally in practice screaming, and he was firing himself up and everything. And I thought, that guy's going to impress somebody. And it was shortly thereafter he began to mix in with the varsity and, became a varsity player. And they liked that fire and spirit out of Jose Rodriguez. And he's been that kind of a football player. I'm not surprised that he led them onto the field. Well, Gaster getting ready to kick for Frisco. The Wildcats have a couple of receivers back at the 10-yard line on the kickoff. Here's the approach, and he'll kick deep, and it's spinning down to the 7-yard line. And here is Damian Dugan. Dugan across the 15. Dugan trying to get around the corner, breaks a tackle. He's hemmed in, and he moves across the 20, continuing to break tackles, but just couldn't break out of the scrum there, and finally is knocked to the ground at the 26-yard line after one of the most exciting 20-yard kickoff returns you may see.
Okay.
Because that one, it just didn't look like it was ever going to end. A good effort there by Damian Dugan.
And Dugan did a great job of bringing that ball down.
So the Wildcats first down and 10 now from their own 26-yard line to start the third quarter. Down 13-0 to Frisco with 11:45 still to play here in the third quarter. Decorian Young from the shotgun has a running back to his right. Two receivers to the left, one to the right. Here's a pass down the field, incomplete. Tried to get it to Landry Tyson. Pretty good defense there by Frisco, by Brandon Torres. Seemed like he's really been everywhere you need to be tonight on defense. He's been a tough guy to kind of defeat in that secondary. Second down and 10 for the Wildcats at their own 26-yard line. Two receivers left and right. They're in that tandem. Right in front of us here have Chase Thompson with Bryce McQueen right behind him. Here's a snap to Decorian Young. Fake to the running back pass. Caught Austin Dodd. Dodd across the 30, the 35, the 40s down that sideline. 50, 45, 40. Dodd could go. Here's Austin Dodd. They will not catch him. And the Wildcats score a touchdown. It is a 74-yard touchdown run. We talked about needing a spark for these Wildcats. And by George, the TNT just ignited.
And Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats, as Dodd takes that one into the end zone. Great run for Dodd. Broke a couple of tackles to make it down there.
Yes, 74 yards on that play. I think we identified that correctly. And extra point pending here with Brandon Zavala with Jace Thompson holding. Boy, it's good to see him back. I said that before. A good snap. Ball's down. Here's Zavala's kick, and the kick is good. So with just 33 seconds used up here in the third quarter, 11:27 left in the third quarter. Frisco 13, the Wildcats 7. Let's take a break. Back in a moment. Positive thoughts, folks.
Well, the Wildcats on the board with that touchdown, and it's now Frisco 13, Wildcats 7, as the Wildcats will send the ball back down to Frisco. Only took, less than a minute. We got 11:27 left to go here in the third quarter. Wildcats quickly responding, and they say what you do with the ball when you first get it in the third quarter kind of says something about the rest of your second half, and Wildcats looking good.
Well, I hope that's true. I like that theory right now. You know, it's so important that is on the goal sheet. Mm-hmm. To score the first time you have the ball in the first quarter and the third quarter. The Wildcats can check that off for the third quarter, and kick off now for the Wildcats And let's see if Greg Owens has something up his sleeve here. No, it'll be a deep kick, and it's going to be taken by Frisco at the 8-yard line. Here comes a return man across the 15, across the 20, breaking up in there, but right into a tackler at the 30-yard line. Nice secure tackle there by George Greenway. You know, we've called his name before on that special team, that kickoff unit, for making a tackle. And Frisco will start at the 31-yard line after that kick return. And here come the Raccoons with their wing tee. Of course, Coach Guerra, who is from South Texas and knows that wing tee, says it's not a true wing tee, but it's a form of it. And here's our running play, and very little gain there. The Wildcats, a ton of them, a whole host of tacklers at about the 32-yard line will give the ball carrier 1 yard on the play, as that was Stanton. And it'll be 2nd down and 9 for Frisco, and they're at their own 32-yard line. I like the way they bottled up that first play.
Yes, I do. That's a lot of defensive linemen in on that one.
And we've talked before that synergy where offense will score and defense picks up the ball. And here's a quarterback back to pass. He's looking down the field. He throws the ball toward the receiver. A little bit of contact, too much, and pass interference against the Wildcats on the receiver, who was Blake May, the wingback coming out of the backfield. They caught one of the linebackers making too much contact, and that'll cost the Wildcats. Unfortunate, because it didn't look like, you know, they may even debate whether that ball could be caught.
No debate.
Holding. And they're going to say, well, it's hard to catch up to a ball when you're being held. So that'll go against the Wildcats. It'll be a 1st down for the Raccoons as the ball comes up to the 42-yard line after the penalty. So 1st down and 10 for Frisco at their own 42-yard line. If not had seen the turnover bug arrive, and the Wildcats would like to see one of those. Frisco does not beat themselves much with turnovers. And here is a running play, and Stanton is hit right at the line of scrimmage. Once again, really good defense. One of the interior guys, let's give at least one credit there for Cameron Crawford, defensive end for the Wildcats, and that would make sense because it looked like a lineman that kind of reached out and grabbed that ball carrier. No gain on the play, and here is should be 2nd down, right?
3rd, they're saying.
Yeah, they're saying 3rd down and 10 here, and and here's our running play. And the ball, that looked like the ball might have been on the ground, but Bryson Clemens covered it if he did at about the 45-yard line. A short gain. It's going to be 3rd down as that down marker on the far side jumped the gun a little bit. But now it's 3rd down and 7 needed. Frisco at their own 45-yard line. And the Wildcats beginning to stop the run a little bit. Maybe Coach G went to school with these guys on that wing tee, and halftime. He's good at adjustments. And here's Yates, the quarterback, back to pass. He's looking, and he's going to rush, but he's caught by the Wildcats, and he's going to be sacked.
Yeah.
And he's dropped back around the 41-yard line. Boy, look at DQ Pitts. It doesn't take much to light his fuse.
And DQ's the one who grabbed him and held on to him and kind of began pulling him to the side and got some help from other Wildcats. So great job.
You know, and DQ, if I recall the stats properly, he's probably one of the leading sackers that the Wildcats have. I think he was tied for that with another player, but he may have just surged into the lead. 4th down, Frisco expected to punt here from their own 42-yard line. Austin Dodd back deep to receive the punt, and check on offense and defense on good performance on that first drive. And here's the kick, and it'll bounce, and Dodd will let this one go as Frisco guys, took a beautiful bounce for Frisco down to the 13-yard line, and Wildcats end. As sometime you let that ball bounce, it'll kind of take a stationary or neutral bounce. That one took a huge kangaroo hop all the way down to the 13-yard line. So Wildcats will have it 1st and 10 from their own 13. The officials making sure that everybody's squared away here. Now they back out of there, and the Wildcats will start this drive from their own 13-yard line. So good job offensively and defensively so far. And here's a running play for the Wildcats. Boy, a good strong run all the way up to the 19-yard line. Gain of 6 on the play by Caden Davis, the young sophomore. And as we always say at this time of the year, you need to call him a junior now because he's played a year of football. He's playing his 10th game this year for the varsity, so may have to call him a junior now, but he is officially a sophomore, of course. So 2nd down and 4 for the Wildcats from the 19-yard line. DeCorian Young takes the snap. He's back to pass. He's looking. Now he's getting a rush, and he's sacked. The ball is on the ground, but a nice play there by the Wildcats offensive lineman, Charlie Maddox. Jumped on the loose football at the 11-yard line. It's still going to be a huge loss on the play, on the sack. And so the Wildcats lose. It's a 3rd down play, and now 12 for the Wildcats at the 11-yard line. Because they needed only 4 before, but now it's 3rd down and 12. But they still have possession, and you can thank Charlie Maddox for that, for being alert. Back to DeCorian Young. He's back at the goal line. He begins to scramble. Now fires the ball. It's caught. Austin Dodd. Dodd gets up to the 19-yard line. That'll be 4 yards short of the 1st down. And you would think the Wildcats will now send Jermon Bryant Amos in to punt the ball away for the Wildcats on 4th down and 4. And, kind of in that department of it's always something that kind of stops a drive. In that case, that sack.
Yeah.
Kind of just slammed the brakes on this drive as Jermon Bryant Amos comes in. I keep waiting for the first time he fakes and runs, but I guarantee you, just like I said about Angel Tavera, when he did that, you better make it.
Yeah, no kidding. Right,
I think Angel made it by half a yard. Here's back to Jermon Bryant Amos. He'll definitely kick this one, and he booms that out of there. It's way over the punt receiver's head, and it's bouncing around, and finally DQ Pitts will down the ball at about the 26-yard line or so, and that's where Frisco will start after the Wildcats punt, and that was a very, very long kick by Jermon Bryant Amos.
He really got a leg into that one. Good height on that as well as distance, and good coverage.
6:28 left here in the 3rd quarter, and the Wildcats are trailing Frisco 13-7 as they've scored once here in the quarter to trim the lead more than in half since Frisco missed an extra point, and that still could be a big play. Yates under center from the 26-yard line, and here's a run to the left, and it breaks into the secondary, and the runner finally dragged down. May, that wingback, went all the way across the 45-yard line down to about the 46. 1st down and 10 for Frisco. That was a sneaky little play where the wingback, it was a counter play. They sent everybody toward the right, and the wingback, with some blocking though, moved way down the field. 1st down and 10 from their 46-yard line. Here's Stanton on the run, and now he's going to gain a lot of yardage. He goes across the 50, across to the 47-yard line, and so about 4 yards needed. 2nd down and 4 for Frisco, and they're down around the 48-yard line.
And in some other playoff games going on tonight, Aledo leads Seagoville 48-12. They are in the 4th quarter.
As you would expect that, I think. Aledo, well, they're number 1 in the state of Texas. And Seagoville's kind of just happy to be there, I imagine. 2nd down and 4 now for Frisco from the 48-yard line, and Yates will hand off again. This play coming to the left to the wingback May, and he will pick up a 1st down all the way down around the 40-yard line of the Wildcats. And so that wingback now coming alive here as Frisco, after kind of snoozing through a drive, this drive they seem to have gotten back with a program here as they were threatened by the Wildcats. Wildcats had a real shot there to move ahead or to kind of equalize the game and just couldn't get it done. It would have been a very, very long drive, and now Frisco counterpunching here. They are a great offensive team with this wild wing tee. And here's Yates, and he hands off, sweeping to the right is Clemens. Oh, a nice tackle. He tried to jump over the Wildcats defender, and the defender, that was Andy Edens, tripped him up, and a gain of 2 on the play. Nice play by Andy. Sometimes those cornerbacks have to be able to tackle. Second down and 8 from the 38-yard line of Wildcats territory. And Wildcats and Frisco both using a lot of players. You see subs coming in and out almost on every play.
Collinsville leads Como-Picton 28-0 in the fourth quarter.
Oh, my goodness. Congratulations to Como-Picton on making the playoffs this year. Second down and 8, and now Yates hands off. Here's a reverse up the middle and gains some pretty good yardage. Goes across the 35 down to around the 33-yard line. That's going to be 3 yards short of the first down for Frisco. So we'll have third down and 3 from the 33-yard line.
Van leads Athens 28-13.
The Van Vandals. My dad used to always like to say that over and over. He loved the sound of that. It's like the Hutto Hippos, always been one of my favorites. Steve Hale, that was a defensive coordinator for the Wildcats for several years. When Coach Owens first got here, he was a coach of the Hutto Hippos for several years. And now here's Yates with a handoff again. May coming around the left side, breaking tackles, heading toward the end zone, gets a great block, and he will score. It is a 33-yard touchdown run by May. And boy, a great block there, picked off DQ Pitts, I believe, and they're now helping him up. So he was focused on that ball carrier, and somebody really blocked him.
Yeah.
But he jumped up. DQ appears to be okay, and he'll be fighting another day, that's for sure. And extra point pending, though, for Frisco as they move out to a 19-7 lead. And coming in to try the extra point again is Peter Arena. And Jimmy really wonders if he might be kin to the Arena that's a Big Will Bruce in soccer for Team USA, I believe, right?
Right.
Jimmy? Here's the extra point kick. He looked like, he got that one between the uprights. So we have 3:44 left here in the third quarter, and Frisco has reasserted themselves here. Frisco Raccoons 20, the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 7. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
3:44 left to go in the third quarter. 20 for Frisco, 7 for the Wildcats as Frisco scores again. And the Wildcats getting ready to receive the ball.
Yes, they are. Frisco is they were talking in their special teams huddle before the kickoff here. And again, they use a different kicker for kickoffs as opposed to extra points. Sometimes one guy will have a stronger leg, but he might not be as accurate kicking the ball between the uprights. And this is Jake Gaster, who's a sophomore. And Peter Arena, the kicker, is a senior, and he's the one that at least attempts to put them through the uprights. He's only 2 out of 3 in this ball game. But now Gaster, the sophomore, I guess he'll be the heir apparent kicker for next year unless they have a JV player or something. Or you never know. He may be at Frisco Nimitz or something. No telling what that 11th high school will be called. Here's a kick and taken by Damian Dugan across the 10. Dugan across the 15, trying to get around the corner and having a hard time. And then he is wrapped up, looks like around the 23-yard line as he was kind of hemmed in, nowhere to go over there. He was looking for a seam, and it just failed to develop. So the Wildcats will have the ball first down and 10 from their own 23-yard line. And they trail 20-7 now with 3:34 left in the third quarter. Time to get busy here, guys. They're going to open with an open backfield again and go to that 4 receivers to the right formation, 1 receiver to the left. And again, one time they threw a pass over there, and the other guys were the blockers. Back to DeCorian Young, and that's going to do it again. Caught by Austin Dodd. He's across the 25, across the 30. And he's going to be tackled at the 32-yard line. That's 1 yard short of the first down. So it'll be second down and 1 for the Wildcats at the 32-yard line. And again, that nice play where they pass to Dodd, and those other 3 guys will become blockers. Kudos, Matt Young. I like that play. I don't know which one of those offensive minds in your room came up with that. They've got a lot of them. Coach Metter, Tyson, Offit. And here's a running play now. Colton Allen, and he's tripped up, and he will gain nothing there. And it'll be third down and 1 now from the 32-yard line. That's a couple of times Colton has been ready to cut loose, and then somebody gets into his legs there from that good Frisco defense. They may be vanilla and base on that 4-3, but they play it well. The reason they've had a successful season, they've won 6 out of their last 8 ball games, and those were all district games. Corey and Young from the shotgun on this big 3rd down and 1, and there'll be a fake and a pass, incomplete. Tried to get it into Jamon Bryant Amos, and I'm not sure that ball wasn't tipped away. By a real good defensive play there by Nick Bonilla.
Bonilla did get a hand on it.
So tipped it away from Jamon Bryant Amos, and 4th down and 1 for the Wildcats, and they look like they're debating going for it here. Boy, that would be roll. That would Greg Owens, the Riverboat Gambler here. They're going to go for this on 4th down and 1 from the 32-yard line. Holy cow, Batman! Be something for us to talk about Saturday morning. Haney in motion, and here's DeCorian Young, and it's a handoff to the running back, and he is stuffed by Frisco, and Frisco turns the ball over on downs on the Wildcats, and a 4th down and 1 play blows up, and the Wildcats defense now has the weight of the world on their shoulders as they're back at their own 29-yard line.
With 2 minutes and 13 seconds to go in the 3rd quarter, Frisco leading 20-7, and we'll point out that Pittsburgh defeated Community tonight 42-7.
All right. Community was Coach G's old school, where he was a defensive coordinator there. 1st down and 10 now from the 29-yard line. Here's a sweep to the left. Player almost knocked off his feet. Colin Wade slowed the player down. Then DQ Pitts helped finish him off along with Austin Dodd. And the play lost all the way back to around the 35-yard line. That's a loss of 6 on the play. As, again, Wade kind of strung it out, and then the other defenders came rushing in. That looked good. That loss of 6, 2nd down and 16, and Frisco back at the Wildcats' 35-yard line now. As again, this drive started on the 29. Frisco from that huddle. Coach Owens calls this the muddle, when they're back there and then they race to the line of scrimmage. Here's a handoff, Stanton, and he hits a stone wall there. The Wildcats allowed him to get only maybe a yard or 2, and it's going to be 3rd down now and 13 needed for Frisco. So far so good, but you got to do this maybe 4 times from down in this end of the field. But the first 2 plays, the Wildcats defense has came out of there with fire in their eyes against this Frisco offense. Good job, fellas. Yeah, but halfway there, though, perhaps.
A little information from the sideline coming in.
And here comes Frisco, and again, they trot up to the line of scrimmage. Yates, the man under, and he will hand off Stanton. He burst into the secondary, sliced through a couple of tackles, but tackled at the 24-yard line. It's going to be 4th down and 5 for Frisco at the Wildcats' 24-yard line. And here now they've done it 3 times. They're going to have to do it a 4th time. Here's Frisco is now going to go for it. After the Wildcats, I think it's only fair, don't you, Jimmy?
Yeah.
They held us, and so now we should hold them.
Right. And number 14, your man that never goes to the huddle, is the one who's shuttling in the play he calls.
Yeah, that's Dante Reese.
They're calling
He's the
timeout
one that threw the touchdown pass to the quarterback I was talking about from an earlier game. Timeout taken here. Oh, it's the end of the 3rd quarter. We've completed 3 here from the Star in Frisco, and it's the Frisco Raccoons 20, the Wildcats of Sulphur Springs 7. We'll take a break, come back with the extremely exciting 4th quarter right after this. And here are Frisco now on this big 4th down play. They'll sweep to the left with May, and he's trying to get the 1st down, and he looks like he got it as he crossed the 20. So, again, that sweep to the left that looked like the touchdown play from a while ago, and May runs that one, the wing back, for a 1st down. So Frisco now has 1st down. Now they're on the Wildcats' 18-yard line, and all that good work of 3 good plays, and then the 4th one gets the 1st down. And now they got to start all over again. But that's just football.
11:40 here left in the game.
Yeah, Frisco up by 2 touchdowns, so a touchdown here would really make it tough for the Wildcats. They've had a hard time moving on this Frisco team. So here's from the 18-yard line, and have a player breaking tackles and moving down around the 10-yard line. Oh, look at that pile move down to around the 5. Boy, we've seen several teams that have just kept pushing and pushed that ball down near the goal line, as that was a running play that time, I believe, by Aaron Taylor. He's a running back, too, besides being a middle linebacker. Looks like they took, well, they're going to spot it at the 8.
And
that's a 7, actually. So first and goal from the 7-yard line. And Frisco, again, the play coming in from the sideline. Nick Bonilla brought that one in, I believe. Now he's going out as a flanker. Well, Frisco taking a long time talking this one over.
Yeah, they still got
must be complex here. And here come the Raccoons. First down and goal to go from the 7-yard line. Again, Yates, the quarterback. He hands off. Stanton hits up in there. Maybe cross the 5 down to about the 4. It'll be second down and goal for Frisco at the 4-yard line. Well, Wildcats got that goal line to their back there, pretty close.
One thing you can rest assured of, though, they're not drawing the play in the dirt because there's not any out there at turf field.
That would be futile. And pretty darn weird, too, I would think, trying to get some of that ground up tires or whatever they use. And
yeah, we're down to 10 minutes here in the game.
And Frisco threatening here on second and goal from the 4-yard line. Yates under center. And we'll take the snap and hands off Stanton. Touchdown Frisco as he ran right off either left guard or left tackle.
Right.
I don't know if that's strong side or weak side, but well, they don't call it weak. That's why they came up with quick.
Yeah.
You don't want to call anybody a weak side tackle or a weak tackle.
No kidding.
So that's why they come up with quick. And now Frisco will try the extra point here. And again, this is Peter Arena. Sounds like a venue, doesn't it?
It does.
And Peter Arena, the kicker here, a senior. Snap is down and the kick on the way, and he fires it right through the uprights, and just like in our multi-purpose center, it bounces off that wall back there as you kick toward those uprights. So Frisco scores and kicks the extra point. 9:51 left now in the fourth quarter, and the Frisco Raccoons have a 27-7 lead over the Wildcats, and we'll take a break and be back in a moment.
9:51 left to go in our game. 27 for Frisco, 7 for the Wildcats, and it's beginning to become a desperate time.
Yeah, the Disney movie. We're almost in miracle.
Yes.
Not quite yet,
no,
but
no.
We're getting close to miracle time.
Yeah.
You know, that's the part of the movie that you go, I'm not sure that could happen. But anyway, Wildcats trailing 27-7 with 9:51 left in the fourth quarter. It ain't done yet, folks.
No.
But
the last
John Meredith is in the wings warming up with turn out the lights. So, but let's not throw dirt on these guys yet. Can't think of any other cliches. And here's the kick for Frisco, and it's taken at the 8-yard line. Here comes the counterpunch across the 10 to the 15, across the 20. Looks like a good run back across the 35, the 40, the 45, the 50, and over the 45. And then for good measure, that was Damian Dugan was knocked forward as they tackled him all the way up to the Frisco 41-yard line. Good job by Damian Dugan to make something happen for the Wildcats with a very nice kickoff return all the way to the Frisco 41-yard line.
Walt and his animation team would have been proud. You mentioned Disney.
That's right.
That's great.
And trip receivers out to the right, 2 receivers to the left. And Decorian Young takes the snap, and he fires it out to Austin Dodd. Dodd across the 40. Dodd continuing to run north-south always. And he is out of bounds at around the 35-yard line. Gain of 6 on the play. Second down and 4 for the Wildcats at the Frisco 35-yard line. Getting out of bounds stops the clock with 9:22 left.
That's running now.
Wildcats down 27-20, but they're trying to get back on the board quickly here. Decorian Young from the shotgun. now sends Chuck Sims out to the left. He'll fire the ball up the middle, incomplete. Tried to get it into Bryce McQueen. That was incomplete, so it'll be second down now, third down, and Wildcats still need about 3 yards. Need to get down to the 31-yard line, and they're at the 34. Of course, I think these officials have an aversion to putting the ball on the exact yard line tonight.
Really?
Of course, they're doing what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to mark it exactly. But I would like some, being an analytical personality, I like that ball right on the line. And here's a big third down play for the Wildcats. Back to Corian Young. He fires the ball down the field, incomplete. Boy, he sailed that ball through McQueen's hands that time. He had some heat on that. And it's 4th down and 3 for the Wildcats.
And the Cats will be going for it.
Yeah, you have not very many options right now. 3 touchdowns behind and just 9 minutes left to play. And Corian Young. This is a big play now for the Wildcats. He's got Chuck Sims back there to his right. 2 receivers left and right. And here's 4th down and 3. And Corian takes the snap. And he fires a pass, and it is intercepted by Frisco. That was a beautiful interception. They kind of jumped a route on the Wildcats receiver, and that was intercepted by Dante Reese. And an interception for Frisco. And they have the ball at the 26-yard line, and that is the first turnover in the football game. Been very cleanly played. We said, we thought if the Wildcats eliminated turnovers that they would take care of most of their problems, but other things have been a problem tonight.
That turnover came at 8:55 left to go in our ball game.
So Frisco from their own 26-yard line, they'll try Stanton steaming straight ahead. Wildcats still playing very hard and tackle him at the 30-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 6 from the 30. And Frisco, their offense anyway is kind of a slow, plodding offense. So, they're even 3 and out, and they're going to burn up some valuable time. But that would be ideal for the Wildcats, just to get that ball back as quickly as possible. Even a big turnover. Well, Frisco got that last week. 2 of their touchdowns against Lovejoy were fumbles that they picked up and ran into the end zone. They did that twice. And here comes Yates, the quarterback, on 2nd down and 6, and handoff sweeping to the right. This is that May, the wingback. He moves up close to the 35-yard line, and it's going to be 3rd down and 1 for Frisco. Well, let's call it 2. They're going to mark him at the 34-yard line. And so 3rd down and 2 for Frisco at the 34.5-yard line, of course. So it really need a yard and a half is exactly what they need here.
27-7 our score. Frisco leads the Wildcats.
And 7:36 on the clock. And that thing seems to be ticking awfully fast now. Here come the Raccoons. And Yates, the quarterback, handoff. Stanton hitting in there and then breaking to the left. He'll have the 1st down. He moves across the 40 to the 41-yard line. Stanton has looked as advertised. He looks like a 1,000-yard back. He's had a big night tonight. And May, boy, he has really had a second half. I don't remember him being much of a force in the first half, but he has really looked good running that wingback stuff. And the clock just now hitting the 7-minute mark. Frisco 27, Wildcats 7. From the Star in Frisco. I like this place a lot better than I do right now. When I got here, I liked it. And here comes Yates, the quarterback. Carter Yates, and he'll hand off Stanton again. Dragged to the ground. I believe that was Greenway making the tackle, doing a good job there.
We need one of these in Silver Springs.
No, that was actually Evan Rushing. Let me give Rushing credit. I admire Evan because he plays that band instrument at halftime and then has to grab his shoulder pads and race to the locker room. Try to get in on some of that defensive meeting. Second down and 8 from the 43-yard line after that good play by Evan Rushing, jumping on the back of that Stanton, the ball carrier.
And Saltillo varsity girls basketball, we'll talk.
And here's a run to the right this time, and running back breaking some tackles now, just moving to a first down across the 50. And the Wildcats look kind of fatigued on that play to me. They had a hard time chasing that play down. Maybe it was just a nice hard run there by Frisco. But moved across the 50 down to the 48-yard line, first down and 10. And now the Wildcats will take a timeout. They still have 2 left here in the second half. 5:51 left in the fourth quarter. Frisco 27, the Wildcats 7. And we'll be back in a moment.
5:51 to go here in the game as Frisco leads 27-7. Don't forget about the girls varsity tournament going on at Saltillo this week. Some great basketball there.
And here comes Frisco, first down and 10 from the 48-yard line, and Yates will hand off, and this is that wing back and right up the middle, and this is a fresh back. This is almost not fair. He is running so hard. That was a great run that time by Aaron Taylor, and we haven't seen him a lot. He's, I'm sure, been focusing on his middle linebacker position, and now Daniel Marino is sitting down on the ground, and a very good sportsmanship by one of the Frisco players came up to him to make sure he was okay, and if he needed some extra assistance. Now, the training staff is helping Daniel up, and he's had a great year after missing a whole season due to an injury, and he's struggling right now, and they'll have to replace him definitely. Hopefully he can. He's trying to give it a go, walking off on his own. Tammy Carroll out there helping him with another member of the training staff. Daniel Marino, he's had a great senior year. And it kind of reminds me that it's going to be a very, very long show if Saturday is indeed our final show of the season with Coach Owens, because he will talk about every one of his 33 seniors. I'll warn Doug in advance. We'll probably need about an hour and a half tape to take care of that show on Saturday. But the good thing is we won't have to talk about this game very long if it turns sour, and it's going that way. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line, and here's another run up the middle, that same play, and it'll go across the 15 down to around the 14-yard line for Frisco. It's a gain of about 5 on the play, and it'll be second down and 5 from just inside the 15-yard line. 5:15 still left to play, so Frisco trying to really put this game out there. You never want to have mercy on the other team. Sometime that'll come back and bite you when that other team will come all the way back when you kind of didn't do what you could have done to get even further ahead.
Especially one that has offensive potential like the Wildcats do.
And here comes Frisco from just inside the 15-yard line, and here's a run to the right now for Frisco, and heading toward the end zone, and touchdown for Frisco, and that was Bryson Clemens, the running back. So Bryson Clemens with the run for Frisco is about a 15-yard touchdown run. And the score is dialed up now to 33-7.
And the Frisco coaches in the box have just left the box.
Yeah.
Going down to celebrate.
Why not?
Yeah.
I mean, you're up by quite a bit, 26 points now with just 4:42 left. That would be the kind of comeback that you would talk about that for the next 100 years in Sulphur Springs. And I want to say what a great crowd Sulphur Springs has brought to this ball game. Here's the extra point. And the kick is good, but that is a very, very impressive crowd on the other side and in a big venue, but there are a lot of people in seats over there.
Right.
So Frisco takes a 34-7 lead over the Wildcats with 4:42 left here in the fourth quarter. We'll take a break, and we'll be back in a moment.
4:42 left to go in our game here at the Ford Center at the Star in Frisco. Frisco leads 34-7 for the Wildcats, and it's home field advantage in a way. The Frisco High School team has played here a time or two this year, I think.
Yeah, I think I got the impression from the coach that they'd probably played 2 games here. This is one of 3 of their venues, and right now the soccer venue that they also use for football, I think that's Toyota
Stadium, yeah.
Toyota Stadium. That is off limits because they're getting ready for some big soccer confab, and you know those soccer players, they love that natural turf, but they want good turf. They don't want these football players to dig up huge clumps. And here's the kickoff for Frisco, and they're going to kick it relatively deep. It's going to be taken at the 20-yard line across the 25 and then ushered out of bounds. That was Damian Dugan, and that's where the Wildcats will start. Actually, they'll mark it at the 26-yard line. And here come the Wildcats, and see if we can't see if they're going to bring in some other fellows here. Looks like trying to identify some of these guys.
Looks like most of our starters in right now.
Yeah, I saw Jacob Junitas in there. So that's and I see Rader on the end too. So there's no quitting the Wildcats. They wanted to see if you try to score one right after the other. A bad snap back to DeCorian Young, and he picks it up and tries to do something, and he was smothered back there on a loss on the snap that was just too low that time. Back inside the 20, back around the 18-yard line. He's had to kind of reach down on a lot of the snaps tonight, but he's been able to manage pretty much by kind of reaching down. But that one was just a little bit lower than some of the others. So second down now, and looks like about 15 or so. Back to DeCorian Young. That was a little low. He'll fire the ball down the field. Caught Austin Dodd, and Dodd across the 30. And they're trying to tackle the ball, but Dodd hung on and moves it up to the 35-yard line. That'll be short of the first. How many times have I said this tonight for the Wildcats? Short of the first down by 1 yard.
Yeah.
So it's 3rd and 1. And sometimes that 1 yard's been impossible to get. That's, we talked about the over on downs and that kind of stuff. But man alive, it's just one of those nights where every time the ball carrier, the ball receiver ends up down, he's 1 yard short. And they'll try a running play, and they got the first down, bursting into the secondary. A good run by Caden Davis, and he gets across the 50 down to the 47-yard line.
And Silver Springs Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down. Go ahead.
I thought Caden might take that to the house, but he made a very, very nice run up to the 48-yard line. Has just over 3 minutes to play here. Wildcats trailing 34-7. DeCorian Young fires a pass. It is incomplete. Receiver could not hang on there for the Wildcats. That was a Bryce McQueen, I believe.
Yes, it was.
So second down and 10 for the Wildcats at the 47-yard line.
2:57 left to go in the ball game.
And I will tell you this very honestly, this Wildcat team has surprised me this year. I guess I bought into all the 6th place team and all that everybody was laying on this team, and they end up as 3rd best in the district. Here's a draw play after a fake run, a fake pass, and then Caden Davis down to the 45-yard line. And it's going to be 3rd down and 8. From the 45-yard line for the Wildcats. A clock at 2:38 and clicking. And DeCorian Young from the shotgun. Been a good quarterback this year. He's been a big part of the success story that was the Wildcats this year. DeCorian steps up in the pocket. He was going to slide back there instead of, if he keeps himself active as a runner, he might really get popped back there. But he did lose some yardage on the play, and it'll be back to the 48-yard line.
He was trying to get out of bounds and just could not get there.
So 4th down and 11, the Wildcats might as well go for it now. I mean, my goodness. There's just 2 minutes left. Trying for a cosmetic touchdown anyway in a 34-7 ball game. And DeCorian, 2 receivers left and right. There's something on the field. DeCorian picked that right up. We'll take the snap. He steps up in the pocket. He's being rushed and always hit by 2 players. Oh, it's a fumble. Frisco picks it up, and they're going to get a touchdown. Frisco running into the end zone. This is Nick Holland touchdown for Frisco. That just rubs a little salt in the wound there.
DeCorian Young just got sandwiched on that. He got hit from the front and the side, and that knocked the ball out of his hands, and they did pick it up and take it in.
Yeah, that's one of those, you could just see it happening in front of you, and nothing you can do about it. Of course, one player on the sideline did that one time in the Cotton Bowl game and made a tackle, one of the Alabama players against Rice, I believe it was, and I believe it was Dickie Magle was running for a touchdown. All these names I remember. You have to be as old as I am to remember all this, folks. But the Alabama player, I think his name was Tommy Lewis. Isn't it funny you can remember that? Here's an extra point kick, and the kick is good. But he came out onto the field. He was on the sideline, and he tackled the guy that was running for a touchdown. He said, "There's nothing I can do." Wait a minute, I can do it. I'll jump on the field. Made him famous. Extra point was good. And Frisco has run up the score now to what will look worse than it actually was. 1:29 left to go in the fourth quarter. Frisco 41, the Wildcats 7. We'll take a break. Back in a moment.
1:29 left to go in the game, and no one in a big hurry to get out on the field. Usually they've been moving pretty quickly to get out on the field, but not tonight, as are here at this point as Frisco gets ready to kick the ball to the Cats. It's 41 for Frisco, 7 for the Wildcats.
And another kickoff coming after the fumble recovery for a touchdown. Yeah, that play just kind of, looked bad from the get-go, and DeCorian Young trying to make something happen. He got sandwiched back there, and the ball fell loose and right into the guy's hands. Very opportunistic. We talked about how they did that twice last week. And they did it once again. That was Nick Holland, defensive end, a junior. He'll be back for Frisco next year. He may be again at Frisco. Who knows? They may run out of names. Greg Owens said they passed another bond issue for 4 more high schools. They've got 10 already. Here's a kickoff, and this one is going to not go out of bounds and covered by the Wildcats. Haney got on it back there. And the Wildcats will have the ball back at their own 23-yard line. First down and 10 with just 1:29 left in the football game. And one of the players I see dancing into the action for the Wildcats looks like a new player there, and that's Mason Arnold. He's played some receiver in the ball game. Looks like, again, Jacob Janitis, and most of the offensive line looks intact. DeCorian Young still at quarterback. So they have not wholesale changes by the Wildcats, as they're still out there trying to score some points. DeCorian from the shotgun. Oh, another low snap, picks it up. Here's a running play. That's Miles, the running back. He goes across the 30 up to the 33-yard line. A nice run there by
number 29.
Oh, 29. Okay. Yeah, that's Caleb Miles. I was pretty sure that was him. He looks unique. He has a running style all his own. He's I believe one of the younger fellows. I don't know. This roster does not have seniors on it. Doesn't identify him. DeCorian fakes a pass. Now he steps back. He's rolling back, still looking, fires a pass. Austin Dodd caught it, I believe, at the 45-yard line. Nice catch by Austin Dodd. And DeCorian, that's where he was looking for Austin Dodd. That will stop the clock with 52 seconds left. The Wildcats up to the 46-yard line. DeCorian Young to Austin Dodd for a first down.
And that's another Silver Springs Dodge Chrysler Jeep first down.
Boy, no quit in golden shoes there, Austin Dodd. Look forward to him playing baseball this year for the Wildcats. Back to DeCorian Young, and here's Miles again on the carry, and he'll move it forward for a couple of yards. Caleb Miles, a running back. Jermon Bryant Amos is in there. One of the Wildcats down is going to need some attention from training staff, and they're coming out to help him up. He's trying to get up on his own there, and
that's Lee.
That's Cameron Leo again, or Chandler Leo, excuse me, and Chandler has been dinged up earlier in the ball game, came back in, and he's heading to the sideline. They probably will not need him here in the last 22 seconds. Wildcats trailing 41-7.
Don't forget, tomorrow evening, 10 p.m., it's the high school scoreboard. tune in, join the scorers from across the state as they recap the Thursday night and the Friday night games. That will go.
Big Roger Emmerich, who somehow can remember every coach, head coach in the state of Texas.
Yeah, another fan of your Hutto Hippos. Looks like we're going to. Now, here we go, coming out.
He did. He was wrong one night, and I pointed it out to him, and he didn't believe me. That shows you how much he believes in his abilities. But I got him that night, but he started correcting it within the next week. He checked me out and found out I was right. And here's Decorian Young, takes the snap in the final seconds here, and he'll sail the pass long down the field, and it is caught. Touchdown, Wildcats.
There we go.
One more touchdown. Looked like he hit Landry Tyson there. A couple of seniors teaming up for one more touchdown. Beautiful play. Decorian throwing it right on the money to Landry Tyson. A couple of great seniors for the Wildcats.
And Northeast Texas Farmers Co-op says, way to go Wildcats on that beautiful play for those two seniors as they come to the end of their high school career.
So one more touchdown pass to remember Decorian Young by, and also Landry Tyson.
Getting some big hugs on the sideline from their coach.
And hope both of those guys maybe find a college home and hope that they can continue. I know Landry's getting some looks, and I would imagine here's an extra point now is Brandon Zavala, very patient, waiting for his holder to come in.
Noe Ponce, and out of time.
And, yeah, that took a little bit too long, and so he'll have to try a 15-yard, actually a 25-yard extra point now. Usually they're 20. And they'll put the ball down 5 yards addition now back to the 15-yard line. And again, Noe Ponce doing the holding. He had to do that when Jace Thompson was injured. And the snap is good. Here's the kick by Zavala. And that kick right through there. There's a flag. I think they roughed the kicker.
It looks like
Zavala got hit. So that'll cost Frisco on the kickoff. Makes very little difference with 14 seconds left to play in the fourth quarter. Have a new score now. Frisco 41, the Wildcats 14. And we'll take a break. Back in a moment.
14 seconds left to go here at the Ford Center in Frisco. We are at the Star Complex. Cowboys' heart and soul here for the professional team.
Frisco Raccoons will be playing the winner of either Dallas South Oak Cliff or Everman. Dallas South Oak Cliff would be a heavy favorite in there. They're 9-0. They were the #1 team in their district. And my old high school, Kimball, was in there with them and got crushed along with everybody else in the district by South Oak Cliff. They were by far and away the best team in that district. Everman comes in 4-5. And so should be a classic mismatch, but we shall see. Weird things happen sometime in the playoffs. But that game will be played in a stadium in Kincaid Stadium in Dallas. Mm-hmm. Here's an onside kick for the Wildcats, but it's not going to go 10 yards. In fact, it was getting ready to go 10 yards and then took a backward path, and so never went 10 yards. So the Wildcats could not even touch it. It has to go 10 yards, and Frisco will take over on the Wildcats' 46-yard line.
Well, when things go wrong, they go wrong. So
yes, that's true. Even water runs uphill, it seemed like. That football was heading. Of course, football's a crazy object anyway, and it does not behave under any kind of natural law.
Lone Oak is out. They lose to Kemp 42-14.
Okay.
And
it looks like this has the makings of a knee play here for the quarterback, and he does that. And they can celebrate in Frisco, and they are having a good time here. Now, keep in mind that this team in blue was 0-10 last year. They had a terrible season. When I said that, Coach Owen said, been there, done that. He remembers, I believe it was, 2015, I believe. Right. I'll look in the old record books here, but I believe that was when the Wildcats, an unfortunate season in 2015 where I had a huge number of sophomores that were all seniors last year, players like Ryan Humphreys and a good bunch of guys that had this kind of Frisco season that they had last year. But the Raccoons are now 7-4, and they are by-district champions, and then they will move on to the area round, either South Oak Cliff or Everman. And again, that game being played at Kincaid Stadium on Friday, that'll be one that Big Roger Emmerich on the scoreboard show for TSN will be talking about, along with a whole lot of other games that'll be played on Friday night. Wildcats lose this one by the score of 41-14, and I've said it a million times before at the end of games, but they always end too soon. Unless you win the state championship, it's a disappointing pill to lose that last game. But it'll happen to just, the vast majority of teams that are playing, except for those few fortunate enough that do like we did in 08 and get the brass ring and able to take that state championship trophy home that still resides there in the multipurpose building lobby. But this one's over, and the Wildcats lose to Frisco by the score of 41-14. Turn it over to Jimmy Rogers. Normally we tell you where we'd be next week, but I'll be at a basketball game somewhere.
I was going to say that it's going to be basketball for this sports group, and we encourage you to follow Wildcat, Lady Cat basketball here on KSST. Of course, we'll be following basketball, then soccer, then softball, then baseball as we continue to follow the Wildcats and Lady Cats throughout the year. Join us as we do so. We'll be televising several of those games on YouTube channel, and so you'll be wanting to see those along with Doug Haston videotaping these games as he does football for replay on Channel 18 as he has tonight. Don Julian does your play-by-play. We appreciate Don and his hard work each year. Butch Burney's been with us again this season doing our statistics, writing our story for KSSTradio.com. And thank you, Butch, for your contributions that you make to us here at KSST. I'm Jim Rogers, and for James Terry, thank you for the work that you do back at the station to keep us on the air and all others involved in this broadcast tonight. Thank you all. Have a great evening.